America's core problems, in fact, are economic. That's not accidental. Again, it's by design. What you're watching is class war disguised as race war.
Every one of them.
Keep the population
I really do.
at
I'm not
one
being
another's
ironic. I
throats.
do love black people, and I do love Jews.
Anti-white, non-whites.
I love Jews. Okay, some of my best friends are Jews. Some of my best friends are straight up blacks.
I'm not 100% white. I'm of mixed descent, and so is all the guys that are on the school that claims to be Boer.
Why do you want these cocks representing you? Tell them to fuck off! Once white people wake up to the racial question, they'll start fighting back. And the inevitable consequences of fighting back is a chance at victory, which is what they want to avoid at all costs for white people.
Yes, I have realized that collectivism is the only way to fight collectivism. Collectivism is the way of humanity. It's the way of the white man. It's the way that we've always succeeded. God damn it, I'm big brain. The only thing that matters is white men grabbing their nuts and saying, "This is mine." I mean, not talking about their nuts, but like the land.
I want to warn the Americans and plead with them. Please wake up. The black people and the non-white people are taking over your country and you are collectivizing behind ideas. And it is time for white people to collectivize around that which makes them a people. America was a great country because white people made it a great country.
Yes. Here's a solution for you. You carve a kingdom out of this carcass of a failed fucking state, and fuck the UN, fuck the international community, Africa for the white man.
And welcome to the Southern AF Podcast. This is episode number 169, part 2, entitled, How Are White South Africans Doing, Really? Part 2 of our deep dive, of course, on Dan Rutt and his conversation with Mr. Jared Taylor, the Alpha Chad. But before we get into all that, I am your host, the lovable, affable, handsome AF, big-brained AF, honorable AF, honest AF, who could say handsome AF? How could I forget that one? Southern Dingo. With us is, as always, our co-host, our co-captain. His name is Bower Jack. It has been immortalized in the halls of pro-white advocacy and politics forever. It will never die because why? Because Simba has been made his bitch. Timon has been made his lunch. And a beautiful woman has been made his wife, with whom he has created a family. The first family of the new world order of the future. That's correct, everyone. You are talking to the future Führer of the white race. And his right-hand man, Bower Jack. How are you doing, Bower Jack?
Hey, Jeff. For a moment there, when you said his name is, I thought you were going to dox me after the pause, you know?
Yes. Yes.
That was
I
a
would
plan.
never do that.
What's up, dude?
Nothing much, bro. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, and I'm doing not well at the same time. Does that make sense?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Well, then don't worry about it.
Okay. Oh, well, shit.
No, everything's
Gosh,
going well,
dang.
man.
You carry on for a sec. I gotta answer this call real
man,
quick.
that
Sorry.
sounds like a Federal Bureau of Investigation phone, if I've ever heard one. But in any way, you know what I mean, guys? Yeah, so tonight we're going to do part 2. Who would believe it? I think that not many people are going to tune in just based on the fact alone that we mentioned part 2 in the title, because they would
Jack,
think
I'll be right
there's
back.
clickbait. Oh, really?
I
Like
need
right back?
about 2.5 minutes. I'll be right back.
Okay, 2.5
Okay,
minutes.
sorry.
Okay, let's start the timer. Okay, cheers, dude. Anyway, so surely on the fact that we mentioned part 2, you know, people are just going to be like, "No, this is clickbait. We're not falling for that one. We know the Southern AF podcast way too well
to expect them to be on time and to do any follow-ups on things that they promised us that they would do, right? Am I right? Obviously I'm right. So anyway, you guys, yeah, we're going to be discussing a bit of that Jared Taylor interview that he did with Dan Ruet, the vile piece of, you know what, the the name the name for the Afrikaans word for Jew is Jood. Now, if you were to rhyme, if you were poetically inclined, you would say that Ruet rhymes with Jood. Kidding. I don't know if he's. I don't know if he's got the genetics of a Jew, but he sure as hell has the mind of a Jew. My donkey. Anyway, give me 1 second, guys. Sorry, my brother, which is visiting me now, just bought me some coffee, and I couldn't, not thank him for it. So it's good to see some new people here in the chat, or people that just go by different aliases, I suppose. I don't know how many of you guys know about the recent, how do you say, news in South Africa, where a bunch of school kids in Rustenburg sang Erika, and then did the Roman salute. And it was apparently the 4 top learners, and they implored the rest of the people listening and singing with them in the karaoke to do the Roman salute as well. And now the Jewish Board of Deputies is going to take these poor children to a trip to the Holocaust Center for pupils who gave a Hitler salute. Sunday Times reported on the 22nd on the 22nd. On the 8th of June. Sorry, it's I know. Anyway, Jeff is back.
Yes, I am. It's, people in Odyssey chat are saying that the stream is struggling. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I ain't doing that.
Oh man, dude.
What?
I know. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It is buffering. And dude, I logged into Odyssey and I have one notification, and the notification literally says Odyssey deleted buffering, and it's buffering worse than it was last time now. So, thank you.
Yep.
Well, you set your resolution to
Odyssey is-
480p. I don't know how. I don't think I can set mine to.
Yeah, yours. Yeah, the problem with you is, Jeff, it's like on the max value. So I could also never watch an Odyssey stream of yours because it's just too high quality.
Oh, I have to go in Odyssey and do that? Okay, I can try. Are you still there, buddy?
Yes, I'm still here. I see that Solo Blue said I was not aware of that story about that. Jack will be looking further into it. Thanks. All I can say is keeping close eyes on that story. I think it's going to become interesting, because those kids knew what they were doing. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do whenever they're taken on a field trip. You know what I mean? So just keep your eyes peeled for the coming next couple of months. And whenever you see anything about Hoërskool Rustenburg, pay special attention.
Amen. Now, some of you were probably like, why did Dingo leave like as soon as he started the show? That's because everybody in my household is sick AF right now. That's why I'm doing the stream at this time of day during the week right now. Because great news, everybody. I get to quarantine for like a whole week. So away from work, which is awesome. So I got like a week of paid vacation because my wife tested positive for COVID. Fuck yes. How about that? Can I get this more often, please? This is amazing. But no, like she did test positive for that shit. But see, another person in my family that we saw at a gathering this past weekend, they tested positive for the flu on Tuesday. So to me, this is just like, which we've already all known this. It's confirmed that the COVID is just the flu, because like if he was sick and then he got my wife and my kids sick, they got the flu. but they didn't get tested for the flu. They got tested for COVID and they tested positive. So, and then also, dude, I tell you what, we'll go into that in a little bit, but the fucking doctor prescribed my wife some medicine and didn't tell her anything about it. But then whenever I dropped it off at the pharmacy, I just thought it was like antibiotics. Like, thank God that this happened. The pharmacist looked at it and she said, "Is this for you?" And I'm like, no, it's for my wife. She said, "Do you have any symptoms?" I said, "No, ma'am." She's like, "Can you come inside?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So which was freaked me out a little bit. I knew something was off, and I get in there, and she tells me, "I can't legally tell you what to do. Obviously," she said, "and I have to fill this prescription, and I'm not supposed to tell you what I would do." She said, "But if I were you, I would take this and I would put it all in the toilet and I would flush it." And I'm like, "What?" And she said, "Yes." She told me that it's like an experimental drug for COVID patients or something. And I said, "What's the name of it?" And she told me, whatever. I'll have to look it up again in a second. And I looked at it, dude, and check this out. So I Googled the name of it. And the first 6 pages of Google results are just glowing reviews of this thing by just copy pasta bullshit about how great it is and how well it works. On page 7, I find a Forbes article that actually goes into detail and breaks down like what it is, what it does, how it works, and the side effects. And it is fucking terribly, terribly, terribly harmful. And so I told my wife about all that, and we flushed them. So, but dude, yeah, the doctor didn't even say like, "Hey, here's an experimental drug." Just wrote it to her like it was just matter of fact. Are you still there? Oh, thank God.
Yes.
Jack?
Why?
Okay, good.
No, I'm listening.
I'm just making sure. Okay, now I'm trying to figure out how to change the settings on this fucking thing.
He's so used to me interrupting him that
Yeah, I am.
if he doesn't hear it every 2 minutes, he's like, "Where is this guy?"
Okay, I just changed the thing to 480. There we go. Do I have to hit save? I don't think so. So I should be good. Yeah, I think we're good now. I set it to 480. Save. Okay, now it's saved. Bam. Done. All right, everybody on Odyssey, you should be having a better time now. All right, Jack. But yeah, what do you think about that COVID shit, dude? About that medicine?
That's totally insane, dude. And it's gladdening to see, right, that usually pharmacists would just give you the things, but it's glad to see that there's some form of resistance mounting against this nonsense. People are waking up to it, albeit 2 years too late. But it's good to see. I must say that at the beginning of all of this, it was very disheartening. Seeing how many people were duped by this or duped or whatever you say.
Yeah, I mean it's nuts. But let me see. You want me to bring the article up real quick or no?
Sure.
Okay, we won't take long doing this, by the way. Um, I'm just gonna grab it real quick. But yeah, you would think that I'm just gonna set this shit even lower to 360. I mean, why not, right? Okay, 360, save, because it was still buffering on my end. But so you would think that if a doctor prescribes you an experimental drug, they would have to tell you that it is in fact experimental. But no, they don't apparently. Like what the fuck, dude?
Sorry, I zoned out a bit. What did you say?
I said you would think that if a doctor prescribed you an experimental drug for something, that they would have to tell you that it's experimental, but apparently not.
Well, dude,
Oh, this is
doctors
video
are
playback.
scum. Listen, dude, let me tell you, I got the account for my wife giving birth, right? And
Okay.
the operation was, let's say the operation was supposed to cost $100, just to make it simple for me and my small brain and math and all that stuff. Okay. So if it cost $100, right? Then it was if everything went fine and it was normal, which it did. The doctor just lied because due to insurance he could spike the prices, but because it was a so-called emergency operation, which it was not, the price went from $100 to $250.
Damn.
So this capitalist Jewish system incentivizes everybody, sorry, that partakes in it to be corrupt, to be an individual and to steal from your fellow kinsmen or folksmen or whatever, to steal from people in order to build your own sandcastle. And guess what? They're all incentivizing us to build sandcastles on a beach, and the Jews are the ocean. And every now and so often, they crash like a wave on the beach and they wipe out our sandcastles and then incentivize us to build sandcastles again. It's time that we get off the beach, man.
That was nicely said, my friend. Nicely fucking said. Okay, let me see. Yeah, let me get this thing. I'm sorry, everybody. I hate to keep doing this, but I like literally, I can't find the setting for the video bitrate. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I just can't find it. Oh, here we go. I found the link though, so that's good. Yeah, this is a Forbes article, dude. Forbes article on the 7th page of Google. Like, imagine that.
How many?
What?
How many page?
It was on this article, the one telling the truth about that experimental drug I was telling you about. It was on the 7th page of Google search results. Whenever I searched for the name of it, it's called Molnupiravir. Molnupiravir, I guess. Hang on, let me just share the screen. Okay, there. Now, it's it. The title of this thing is "Harming Those Who Receive It: The Dangers of Molnupiravir, Part 2." And then it says, "Yesterday I wrote about the potential dangers of the antiviral drug Molnupiravir could unleash by supercharging new SARS-CoV-2 variants. Today my focus is on the people who may receive the drug as a treatment and possibly that Molnupiravir could lead to cancerous tumors in those patients and birth defects in the unborn." Now, like basically the long and short of this article is it's saying that the way that this medicine works is it attacks any virus in the body by attacking the RNA, which is basically like a virus's DNA, what they say. And it says that it causes like mutations in the strands of RNA, and 2 of the 4 strands, I guess, of RNA. And it basically just mutates itself to death until it can't replicate correctly anymore. The problem is it doesn't just attack virus RNA. It can and often does attack human DNA, especially human DNA like found in sperm and eggs and especially fetuses. Basically anything that is like trying to form, it like to grow, right? So like sperm, that's made for growing. Eggs are made for growing. A fetus is growing. If you have any cancer at all, that shit is growing. And so like what it does is it makes it replicate itself way too fast. So if you have cancer and don't even know it yet, well, guess what, dude? You just fucking advanced from stage 1 to 2 pretty quick because of this fucking shit. And they know this, but they're still releasing it to the public with a warning saying like, just make sure you're not pregnant while you take it and make sure you don't get pregnant at least 3 months after you take it. Now that's pretty fucking insane to me, dude.
Dude, it's so sick. I was thinking to myself, all of this nonsense they were talking about Mengele and all of that stuff and experimental drugs and stuff like that in the quote unquote death camps, Oive. What did I say? That they are literally doing that which they accuse us of doing right now with the global population. Well, the global white population. Let's just add that.
Yeah, I know. You're not wrong, dude. Like their cartoonish experiments theories that the Nazis did on Jews, like they're just going ahead and just doing that, Like they're just, if they could fucking make a room with an electrified floor where you get eaten by an eagle and a bear, they would just do it because they're fucking insane, dude.
Yeah, they are insane. There's nothing normal about them. Nothing. Literally nothing.
Yeah.
There is no single redeeming factor for them.
But what about the fact that they're good with money, Goy?
What value? What inherent value does money have?
Every generation we pick about 100 goyim or so and we make them rich. You don't think that your chances are good to be one of those goyims?
That's great. No, I don't think my chances are good for that.
Yeah, I don't either. But anyways, yeah, big guy. I really wish somebody could help me change the settings because I've been sitting here just trying to look for it, and it's gonna bug me for the rest of the fucking stream.
What
But anyways,
settings? Let me help you,
the
dude. I'm
to
big
change
at
the
with
bit
tech.
rate. No, you're not.
Oh, the bit rate. Okay, what you want to do is you want to go to Odyssey, right?
Okay.
And then you want to go to contact support, and you have to ask one of those guys.
Oh yeah, you're hilarious. Oh yeah, good point, critiqued. Now on your screen, people watching on Odyssey, you can actually set your own bit rate. Well, no, you can't. Never mind. I take that back.
Never mind.
Yeah,
That
I don't know.
guy's
I'll have to figure it out
willingly
by next show. But fuck it.
sabotaging our stream, dude. Yeah, he's sabotaging us. Why do you say
Well,
that
he
if
is
you do it?
Irish. He's
He
Irish.
is.
He doesn't
Oh,
like me because
and you
I'm
know what they
English.
say about the Irish? They like to get drunk
They're
and fuck.
drunk. Oh, you know what? Or Jack. Why don't you? I can't do an Irish accent. Fuck it. I do like Keith Underwood's accent. Underwood? No. What's his name?
Keith,
Help me out.
some
Yeah.
Irish surname. Yeah.
Yeah. Help me out. What's his name? I'm having a
Keith Woods. Keith Woods. Just
Keith
Woods.
Woods.
Not
Thank you. I
Underwood.
said Underwood. I said Underwood.
In the woods,
No, but
not under the woods. Okay.
that was not a flex. I swear to God, I do like that guy, and I watched a lot of his videos. I just had a brain for it.
Which
Yeah,
Keith
Carl
Underwood
Mertz.
never has.
Carl Mertz was a bad guy. Carl Mertz, really not good guy. I'm sorry. I do see an Irish person in the chat literally talking shit about NFTs. That's a good way to get the fuck banned out of here, pal. Anyways, I'm just kidding. Now, we left off last time of this video with Dan Root, and Jared Taylor. No, I'm playing. The Chad, Jared Taylor, and the Virgin Dan Ruitt at 23 minutes and 35 seconds, and we're going to pick it back up there. But first, Jack has a story about somebody that actually did what we requested, and they tried to contact Mr. Taylor about an invite for Jack onto his platform. And Jack, would you please tell this story? Because it's actually hilarious. Yes, Chief, I could do that. All right. Okay, please. Thank you. Jack. Oh, you're shitting me. What's going on? I hope this is on my end or something. Surely not. Like, he's not muted, but he's not saying anything. Okay, I guess I'll just tell the story then, I guess. All right, so, yeah, Jack just left. I guess he's refreshing. Maybe I'll just wait on him to get back so he can tell the story. I hate when this shit happens because then I have to, like, edit it out of the audio version of the podcast that goes on TRS. And, dude, I always forget to do shit like this because we'll have, like, 3 or 4 of these kind of fuck-ups in a show. It's like, how do you remember all those? Celtic People Archives had never heard of him. Does he talk about Ireland? What are you talking about? You never heard of Keith Woods? Motherfucker's like really, really big on YouTube and shit. It's a bit of a Craig Lou. I don't know what that is, big guy. Okay, Jack might need a minute, so I'll just tell the story. So one of Jack's, I guess, like people or fans or friends, I don't know who it was, to be honest. They messaged Jared Taylor. I guess they just went to the site where it says contact us. They clicked that. So they messaged with a request to have Jack on or whatever. And then they linked our show from the other day. And they got a response, I think, the same day. And this wasn't Mr. Taylor, or it wasn't Jared Taylor that responded, but it was somebody else, I guess, whoever answers his emails. And they said to the person that emailed them, said, there is one surefire way to disgust Mr. Taylor, and that is to use profanity. I've heard enough from what I've watched of this show to know that it would disgust Mr. Taylor. Please find a different episode and send that one instead. So we cuss too much, dude, for Mr. Taylor to want to come on. Like, and I believe that, actually. I believe that the person that emailed Jack's friend back was telling the absolute truth. Like, I could see Jared Taylor being that guy. Jack just messaged me. What did it say? Oh, well, hang on. Let me just mute because it's a voice message. Great idea, Jack. Send a fucking VM while we're live. Okay, he said that he'll be right back. Something's going on with his internet, so. Somebody else in the chat said good times. No, I'm sorry. Somebody said, did TRS recommend the death shot? What was that, funny or something? They've literally never recommended the fucking vaccine, so nice try, retard. Keep that up and I'll just ban you. No biggie. No skin off my ass. So what do we do till Jack gets back? Don't know. Not sure. But yeah, like I said, I could see Jared Taylor being that way. He's just such a fancy guy. I don't know what it would sound like if he did use profanity. Could you imagine him cussing? Why, I say, I mean, you pack of monkeys just act like fucking retards. I swear to God. When I was growing up in Japan, I thought that they were animals. But I was wrong. You disgusting fucking purple gums are the real animals here. Probably sounds something like that if I had to guess. Somebody said, obviously swearing is way more important than white genocide. Yeah, I see what I don't know. That could be a critique of either Jared Taylor or us, right? Because you could make the argument that it's more important to both sides. You could say that, oh, it's so important to us that we just can't stop swearing even to get good partnerships going. Or you could criticize Jared Taylor with that and say, like, he shouldn't worry about cussing. He should worry about where people's hearts lie. I think you mean the second one, but like my response to the first one would be that we're not trying to cuss. Like, it's not like a valuable thing to us that we feel we have to include. It's just that, it happens and we can't help it sometimes. Like, it's just a hard habit to break. You know how it is. Cussing's cussing. But anyways, we're going to try not to cuss as much on this show. Even though I did just do like a 30-second impression of the guy. Maybe don't send him this one either, Jack's friend. Maybe send him the next one we do. We'll just try to start out really, really polite and everything. Okay? Let's see. Oh, okay. So this dude here, I think this is the same guy that said the other shit. He said, good. We can just edit this out of the TRS upload. That'll be perfect. Lou says, Dingo, hating PPP is against your interest if you want to take down Groypers. Now, this guy's referencing my hatred for PPP, that fat piece of garbage again. Now, I guess people are kind of just starting to understand that I hate PPP. Like most people that knew me knew. But I think some new people are coming across my shit and the first thing they see is like PPP hatred or something. Which is cool. I don't mind being that guy, right? I don't mind being the guy that hates PPP. I love that. Because I do hate PPP and I'm a guy. But last night, let me address that point first. Hatred of PPP is against your interest if you want to take down Groypers. Let me tell you something, dude. Taking down Groypers is a very big, it's a very big priority. I want to see it happen. It's not like my life's mission. I mean, they're kind of taking themselves down. So it's not like my goal is to actively be the one to take down the Groypers because they're doing a great job of destroying their own credibility. That's kind of like on autopilot at this point, to be honest. I'd say like a year ago, that was my focus, but they're doing it for me now. But even if they weren't, I would never, ever in my life, ever, you'll never catch me teaming up with a dishonest piece of shit like PPP to take down anything. The whole enemy of my enemy is my friend thing, that's a case-by-case basis. And in this case, that's not worth it at all. PPP he's not a more dangerous enemy, but he is such a low piece of shit that you just can't work with that piece of garbage ever to do anything. I'm telling you, he's the lowest of the fucking low, dude. And like last night on the Kino Casino, it showed. Like everybody finally saw, like, okay, yeah, maybe this guy is just a fucking liar. Because here, let me give you some backstory. Here's what happened, okay? It was amazing to watch on my end. So a lot of you are probably familiar with Flamenco, the person that used to be a co-host on the Kill Stream. And he does his own streams now, and he's a weirdo. And he's like a literal autist. But so if you don't know who that is, that's basically his background. Used to co-host Kill Stream. Him and Ralph had a falling out. Now he co-hosts. Now he hosts his own show or streams or whatever. They're kind of centered around weird shit like anime stuff and gaming. And I don't really know. I've never watched one. But he does occasionally get into the drama with Ralph again. And when that happens, people start watching his channel and blah 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 until the next flare up with Ralph. Basically, the only reason he's popular is because he argues with Ralph, right? So a couple of months ago, I guess it was, um, somebody supposedly, and I'm not like a coder, so I don't really know how reliable all this info is, but someone supposedly hacked his email or something and found that he had a account on Pornhub or some shit where he was watching like really weird degenerate porn. I don't think it was gay porn, but I think it was weird, like just really really off the wall weird shit. Just I'm not going to get into details. Just take my word for it. Weird shit. Could have been gay. I don't think it was gay though. I think it was just like weird degenerate shit. Now, he went on the Keno Casino and like they kind of roasted him a little bit, and he didn't like chimp out or anything, and it wasn't really enough, I guess, to completely get him to quit the internet and all that stuff. He wasn't really all that embarrassed about it because he's a weirdo and he's a degenerate. Anyways, so that happened, and then recently these accusations came out about Flamenco, saying that he was like hanging around with pedophiles and this and that, and like PPP latched onto it, right? And see, okay, let me back up. The whole Flamenco was hanging around pedophile, that thing, that started from somebody in Ralph's camp because Ralph hates Flamenco. You have no idea, he hates it. So that started from somebody on Ralph's side. And as weird of a degenerate piece of garbage that Flamenco is, and I wouldn't trust him around my family or ever tell him any kind of secret at all. I don't like him. As weird as he is, I don't believe he's a pedophile. I really don't. I could be wrong about that. We might find out tomorrow that he is, but I don't think that he is. I think he's just a weird degenerate that deserves zero attention from anybody that's honorable. I think he's just garbage, is what I think. But what happened was Ralph and his camp made up the pedophile thing. PPP latched onto it, and then he decided he was going to make an episode of the Keno Casino around it. Well, they did, and what ensued was PPP and his rebound lover Godwinson after his breakup. After PPP's breakup with Surfer, the Canadian fag. Him and Godwinson, they just sat there and they threw straw man after lie, after exaggeration, after reach at this weird degenerate flamenco, this degenerate autistic flamenco guy. And what it did, dude, it was so outlandish, and they were lying so fucking hard and exaggerating things with zero evidence whatsoever. Just saying like, "Oh, see, this proves you're a pedophile," and it's like it doesn't. It didn't at all. It made them look so dishonest because they were being that dishonest that it made this weird, degenerate, autistic motherfucker flamenco look like a squeaky clean priest. Like, that's the problem with dishonesty. And that's the problem with that fat, diabetic, lesbian PPP. You fuck around with dishonest motherfuckers like that, and I'm telling you, you do nothing but damage yourself. So no, to answer the very original guy's question, I would never team up with or not speak the truth about PPP in the interest of Groypers being taken down. PPP's a dishonest faggot, and he will never take down a movement, period. Even a shitty, retarded one like Groypers. Why? Because he's a hollow, empty, self-hating, Canadian, genderless faggot who cares about nothing. He wants to see the world burn. And that is not the kind of fucking person that does things. That's the kind of person that says things. And that's it. That's it. Fuck him. So yeah, as bad as I hate the Groypers, I'm telling you, you got some kind of faith in PPP, you're just going to be let down, just like everybody was last night. And I tweeted something out, and I'll tell you what, I'll pull it up and we'll share it because it perfectly encapsulates. It's a good summary of like what went on last night. They accused this weird degenerate of a bunch of shit that they not only couldn't prove, had no evidence for. I mean, it was such an outlandish, reaching accusation that it just made them look like dishonest pieces of shit, because they are. And I got a little clip that summarizes the whole thing. I'll play it here, and then we'll move on and get back into the South Africa stuff. Sorry, Jack. The only reason I got on this topic is because I was waiting on you to get back. I'm not going to put this in the podcast, by the way. Okay. All right, Jeff. Great. Okay, thank you. He's not muted, but he's here.
He always says that.
There he is.
I'm here, but I mean, you always say that, but you never do it.
I'm actually going to edit this out.
How's that for dishonesty?
Whatever. That's not dishonest. That's accidents when that happens. But no, I'm not. I actually am going to edit this out. I don't want respectable people like Mike and Sven and Alex thinking that we're a bunch of gossip streamers or something. So this will be edited out for sure. But I do want
Wait,
to play
what?
this real
We
quick.
aren't gossipers. We aren't gossip streamers.
Well, we are. I don't want them knowing that though.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. You see now that. Oh wait.
All right,
that
is this
honest?
full screen for you, big guy?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna play this. I want you to
Holy
notice
shit, that guy's fat.
he is very fat, dude. He has humongous man tits. I mean, like Ralph has these weird flabby man tits that are so like low hanging and weird looking that it looks like he has 4 titties. PPP has breasts. He has titties that look like a woman's titties. Like you ever have a fat teacher in elementary school? Like she's probably like 50 and she's really fat.
I didn't
You know how
go
those
to
kind of
elementary school, but okay.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry. Well, and there was one in like every grade. There's like a fat teacher who's probably around 40 or 50 or whatever. And since she's fat, her titties are huge to a weird extent. And like, it's not like they're attractive or anything. It's just you notice that they're just humongous. That's what PPP has. He has enormous woman titties. It's really weird. Now, let's watch this shit.
Accepted the
What
request
about
without
so
knowing.
Flam?
However, yeah, okay, go ahead.
Sam, weren't you in something called the Astolfo Appreciation Group with this guy also?
Whenever he says with this guy, he's talking about a guy that they're also accusing of being a pedophile. I don't know. Let's just say for the sake of argument that it is true. What they're doing is they're saying, "Weren't you in a group with this pedophile, Flamingo?" And watch what happens.
Here we go. No, that was a group that a friend of mine literally made just a second ago to try to make a group chat thing with.
What?
Yeah, I was wanting to make sure whether or not we see people's profile pictures when they get sent like group join requests.
You can see me. I'm screen recording this last night. Is where this comes from. You can see me actively taking screenshots of their fucking faces because their reactions are priceless. And the reason they're having these reactions is like, oh shit, oh god, people are gonna realize that we've just been throwing baseless accusations at this guy all night. Look at his fat face. He's like, oh fuck. He goes, what?
The Astolfo thing was made literally at the request of me by somebody in my fucking Discord to make sure that we like to see how that works. It's not a group. That's a group chat. I can show it up on screen, by the way. This is made literally today. Oh, look. There's nothing in here either. Oh man, that's so weird.
There's me taking another screenshot.
There's the Astolfo Appreciation Friends thing. God, you guys are fucking grasping at straws. This is fucking embarrassing, dude.
I don't know.
I think you're embarrassing yourself, Flamingo.
No, dude. Like at least fucking Merchant Royce came in with fucking doctored screenshots, dude.
We don't
you guys can't even tell me. You guys can't even tell me where your fucking things are coming from. How many in the Steam group?
How many coincidences?
Well, actually, aren't you in a Astolfo Appreciation Friends with this guy? No, I'm not. And I just showed the fucking chat.
No, you deleted all the evidence. I mean, you're very upset.
Yeah. No.
Deleted all the evidence. He just made that up. Dude. They are floundering so fucking hard right now because they just got caught absolutely having nothing on this fucking guy.
Oh, you know what? Honestly, you guys need to sing me happy birthday at this point.
Now, what he's referencing there, if you guys remember, whenever Revenge of the Sith, they called Styx Hexenhammer or whatever a pedophile. On somebody I think it was on that old guy Tonkasaw's show. I can't remember the name of it. They called him a pedophile on that show, and it turned out to be completely false. Also, Styx was like, "Yeah, sing me happy birthday, or I'm going to sue you." And so they had to sing the motherfucker happy birthday, and it's an albatross they've had to wear around their neck ever since. So that's what Flamenco was referencing there. But like I said, Flamenco is not some fucking squeaky clean, like innocent person. I mean, maybe he's innocent of crimes. I'm not saying that he's not, but he is a weird, freaky degenerate who started out his little internet career pretending to be, you know, a dissident right person who sees the side of like the racial thing and blah, blah. And then he just got all weird and transitioned into like anime shit. And then he would have conversations with trannies and call people transphobic and homophobic. Like this guy who at the very least, there's a little bit of truth to the whole Pornhub account thing with him, where he admitted to like jerking off to like weird, I don't want to say it, just weird fucking degenerate porn. Okay. This guy's a freak. But the problem with people like PPP and Goblinson and their dishonesty is they make these fucking freaks look like saints. That's how much they lie about things. And that's a problem. That's why Jack and I have always stuck to just being honest. Just be fucking honest. The only weapon you need ever is the truth. Am I wrong?
No, you're not, dude. That's 100% so. I mean, one of my friends said it very well. He said, I can't translate it into English. Shit.
Nah, that's okay.
You don't need to lie in order to make the truth true. That sounds funny, but you know.
No, that actually does make sense. That translates well, dude.
Yeah, and a lot of people tend to think that you need to lie in order to make your point more compelling. Maybe like I'm not saying in this case, but maybe like it's a symptom of perceiving how the Jews get across their narratives and stuff. How it's always lies. People just think that that's how white people are gonna do it. But it's like I told one of my friends, um, we aren't gonna beat the Jews by becoming the Jews. We are gonna beat the Jews by becoming white men. We have lost our identity. We have lost what it means to be white men. We need to reforge ourselves into being white men again, and that's the only way that we will beat the Jews.
Yeah. I mean, it's what you just said there is completely true and perfect, and it reminds me of like one of the few things that Richard Spencer ever said that I found to be absolutely profound, and what that would be, we need to become who we are. That makes sense to you? Richard Spencer said that. He said we need to become who we are, and I thought it was actually pretty good.
Yeah, that's very well. That's exactly what I said. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously he's got a lot of faults, and don't really see eye to eye with that guy whatsoever anymore. But it remains true that like that quote he said was just, I think it was fantastic. Personally, I think that's what you just described. So I think that he was speaking to something real. Now, somebody in the chat said that Flamenco was watching pegging porn. Okay, well that is gay. I didn't know that. Like I said, I didn't know the whole story of it. I just knew that it was degenerate. And somebody else goes, as compared to the non-degenerate porn? No, dickhead, you fucking smartass. Okay, like.
This is white nationalist sanctioned porn. This is Well,
no.
Actually, I can't think of something.
I think that you fucking people knew exactly what I was talking about. Like, watching two people have sex missionary style is degenerate, but like the sex missionary style itself is not. If it's between two people, right? You know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm talking about porn of degenerate acts. Okay, that's what I meant. You freaking hair splitting asshole in the chat. Also, we got $5 from DeWitt. Thank you very much. And he said, thanks for talking to us, fellas. You're welcome, big guy. We'll talk to you anytime. We love you. Now, are you ready to get into Dan Rutt?
No, I'm ready to get into the interview. You're not going to catch me like that, Jeff.
I see you. Okay. I didn't. Okay. That's your nasty mind, bro. Here we go. This is where we left off last time.
But I would say that the ones who wanted to leave have already left, and the people are staying there now. Probably not all that many of them would immigrate. They've reconciled themselves with this new survivalist kind of a system, capitalism, or this wild frontier.
Oh my God, pause.
Cowboys.
Oh, this is so disgusting. So let me just answer that. The people that have left South Africa did not do it because they wanted to leave. Let's just clear that out first and foremostly, okay? They were forced to leave. Not everybody has the same agency. Not everybody has the same steel in their veins, okay? Or fire in their veins. There are the majority of white people that left South Africa to immigrate permanently did so being forced to do so and long for South Africa and their home fatherland every day. Okay? If you are a young white man in South Africa today, then you are literally excluded from the job market. And you are forced to go and make a living outside of South Africa's boundaries and then bring back that capital to start a small business which will due to the nature of the economy, be put under pressure, and you would have spent your days trying to make a living, trying to build something, and have the economy destroyed. So it's a vicious cycle. This guy's talking out of his ass, saying that, the ones that wanted to leave have already left. A lot of people want to, quote unquote, leave, a lot of people would have left if they had the means to do so, right? Not because they want to, but they want to flee for their safety. Because right now in South Africa, they have nobody representing them as a people. And whenever they take any semblance of pride in their people, they are relentlessly attacked from all walks of life, even from our own collective. They are attacked for taking pride in who they are. So I don't know where down the road is getting this information.
He's just making it up, just like last time, dude. Like, this is exactly what he did last time, just making shit up.
Yeah.
I mean, he's given his perspective, which is a retarded perspective. It's the perspective of an elite who is sitting here speaking about people that he has never met or gotten to know whatsoever.
Did you see? So the one point about that, right? Did you see in your part when I left, you were speaking about how the mechanics in South Africa, are a certain type of white person. So this guy, he doesn't even regard all white people as a part of his collective, right? He solely thinks in terms of, oh, I am an intellectual and I only care for the people in my sphere exclusively. He thinks down on people that do blue collar jobs. He thinks them to be of lesser intellectual value, which is not the truth necessarily. I know some very intelligent people that do blue collar work. I mean, I have met people that are more intelligent that do ordinary work than some of the most intelligent people that I've met that call themselves intellectuals.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Here we go. Hang on. Let's continue.
New pioneers in trying to make a living in such a hostile system.
Well, it seems to be that they're precisely the kind of people, because they're successful and because they're white, that people like Julius Malema, who is this Economic Freedom Foundation, a freedom fighters guy who wants to dispossess the whites of all of their agricultural property, he's just the kind of guy who would fix his sights on people like that and try to either tax them or just take their businesses outright. But my impression so far in this conversation is that you're saying the government really doesn't have the capacity even to do that. And at some level, maybe they're even grateful that they're delivering the mail and feeding people.
True. No, you're quite right. And in fact, I neglected to mention agriculture. Of course,
now that's what I wanted to highlight this point. Like, in this whole conversation, he just now remembered the farmers because Jared Taylor brought him up. He's like, oh, yes, I forgot about the farmers. Like, of course you forgot about them, you piece of shit. You never fucking cared about them.
100%. Let's hear what he has to say about the farmers.
That's always been the kind of the domain of Afrikaners and, rural people. Very few English speakers, except in KwaZulu-Natal, are involved in agriculture at all. And that's been one of the few sectors over the past few years that has seen significant growth and development. And we're also exporting.
That's not true.
I know. Oh, yeah. But let him finish his bullshit, and then you can break it all down, because I had the same thoughts you're thinking right now. I know it.
A lot of agricultural produce all over the world to Europe and the Middle East and Far East and so on. So there you have got owner farmers who are involved in that business. It's not as in some other countries where, you've got a couple of big corporates dominating agriculture.
And that's where Jack's going to have to fucking decide about to yell. Go ahead, buddy.
Dude, okay, let me just clear this out. ABSA, which is an affiliate of Barclays, which comes from the Bank of England, projected that by, I can't remember specifically what year, there will only be 7,000 farmers left in South Africa, and they will all be mega farmers. What does mega farmer mean? Mega farmer means that he is BE certified, that he does business with the government, and that the farm itself is not owned by any individual, but is owned by the state or somebody in cahoots with the state. That is what a mega farmer is. So the idea that white people get to own their own farms in South Africa is a lie. We are losing farmers in South Africa at an alarming rate, which means that we are losing people that have the knowledge how to farm and all of that. But more importantly, farming is a part of our identity, as he rightfully said at the beginning. You know, he also, if you pick that up, the stance distanced himself from the Afrikaner identity group or whatever. But that is who we are. The mining, you know, whenever they speak to the international community, you know, the Jews and their media always say, oh, you know, white people still have a disproportionate amount of land in South Africa, especially arable agricultural land. Well, I was at the Kumba Mining Group meeting, where Kumba Mining Group greeted us as the white farmers, and they said, greeting fellow farmers. We do not greet you as Kumba Mining Company, but we greet you as the biggest owners of agricultural land in South Africa, and we only plan on expanding. And in that very meeting, they threatened us, saying that we will not be able to farm in the future because of climate change, yada, 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 yada. The next meeting they held, they said that they are going to take our farms, and there's nothing that we can do about it. Mr. Ruud knows nothing about, you know, the industry growing. What he thinks he's referencing when he says the farming industry is growing is that, yes, the government is throwing unsurmountable amounts of money into the farming sector to ensure that they transform it with BEE, because that's the safest way for them to expropriate our land. So BEE works like this. The ownership of the company is transformed to the partner, right? The previous owner keeps 49% on standard, and the new owner has 51%. That means that the company then owns your land. Okay, in order to be able to do business, especially what he references, the agricultural exporting industry, you are now. I predicted this in 2017. You can go back to our shows that we did. And I said that they are going to bring, after the Mike Pompeo and John Sullivan came to South Africa, and that agricultural, when Trump made that tweet, they changed their strategy because Dan Ruud is right here. The South African government can't expropriate our farms, but they are now forcing us through the economy, which everybody is subservient to, right, to partake in black economic empowerment. And if you do that, then it means that you are willingly disowning yourself. So expropriation in South Africa is happening, but it's happening and it's worded in a way so that nobody is paying attention to it and nobody is realizing it. We are daily losing farmers, and the mega farmers are growing. Their farms are growing. Let me give you an example. Recently, there was 2 Bonsmara auctions in which they sold bulls at an insurmountable amount of price, which drove the average value of cattle to something that your average farmer cannot afford. This is extortion, and this is, collusion. On a national scale, they are transforming the agricultural sector in a way that would suit those that serve the state and international Jewry.
Yeah, and a thing that stuck out to me about this dude was like, it's just another instance of this guy trying to act like South Africa is different. What's happening in South Africa is different than what's happening everywhere else, right? But the thing I've learned, like I said last time, after meeting you and talking to you, us like seeing all this stuff together, what's happening in South Africa is no different. Like the playbook and what these people do is no different than all of our other countries. Like, so in America, farming has, for the last decade or 2 decades, been going from the hands of like normal people, like small individual families or maybe a couple of families, whatever, to corporate farming. And that's exactly what's been happening in South Africa and it's happening now. So like, it's no different, right? I just want to push that thought that what's happening there is no different than what's happening in all of our countries. The playbook is the same. And it kind of just goes back to like, we're all in the same boat. And I mean that literally, we're all in the same boat. They're doing the same things to all of us. And I think that that matters. And he's blurring that line. He's obscuring that fact. And I really can't put it to words as to why he's doing that. But I know that that's not a good thing that he's doing. It's definitely not.
The reason why he's doing that is because South Africa, and I can show that I'm going to do a thing, right? A video where I translate a bit about Afrikaans book where it references what Harry Oppenheimer said about South Africa and how they want to transform South Africa and ultimately the rest of the white Europe, okay? Because they want a racially integrated future for the world. Now, it's very important because South Africa was used as the scapegoat. This was first done in South Africa. The Rainbow Nation had its origin in South Africa, and the Rainbow Nation strategy had its origin in South Africa, which boiled over to the rest of the world. Everybody all around the world is taking keen interest in South African politics with this in mind, because they see us, and rightfully so, as the canary in the coal mine. And now this guy is trying to do, along with international Jewry, is trying to convince you that South Africa is not the canary in the coal mine, or that it is not as you assume. It is not what your eyes see. We know this very well to be what Jews do. They convince you that what you see with your eyes is lies. All the while, your eyes are always telling you the truth. That's what you see, that which you assume. Your prejudice is 99% of the time the truth. Okay?
Yeah.
And they
Instincts are there for a reason.
it's not so. Exactly. Instincts are there for a reason. Now, why is it important for us? So, I'm going to tie this into it. A guy in the chat says, and I've addressed this many times, I will always do it. Every time I see it, I will address it.
I knew it. I tried to get ahead of it. It didn't work. Okay, go ahead.
What can be done to help Afrikaners migrate to places like the United States or Australia? Jeff, this is important. This is important. Until this becomes mainstream, what people say when they approach South Africa and their own home countries. Nothing.
I know it's important.
Nothing should be done to it. Okay? Nothing should be done to change it. You have to understand that white people in South Africa numerically are the same percentage-wise against non-whites as is the white population globally. We do not accomplish anything by seceding. We do not conceding. We do not accomplish anything by not standing and fighting. It is time for us to stop fleeing and to start advocating on behalf of our right to live and our right to exist. Okay? That is what we need to do. So if you want to help South Africans, spread this message. If you want to truly help Afrikaners, tell everybody that South Africa belongs to the white man. That's how you help us. You do not tell us by saying, flee to my hut. You say, stand your goddamn ground, and it belongs to you. That country of South Africa is the Boers, rightfully, lawfully, in the eyes of God and in the eyes of man. That is the message that you need to carry all around the world. Nothing short of that. Encourage your people to fight. Because if we do not fight, then the rest of Europe and America, Australia, New Zealand, every white country will fall. Hear me now. If we do not fight, then the rest of the white civilization will fall. White civilization around the world depends on what happens in South Africa. You might think this is crazy, but if you don't understand it, don't argue against it. That is the truth.
And Ulfric, he's not yelling at you. He's just yelling at the situation. By the way, we both be yelling all the time, but that doesn't mean we're yelling at people. we just yell. You know what I'm saying? That's why we get along, me and Jack. We get passionate and we yell. But anyways, no, I mean, like, he's right. And whenever I first, started paying attention to the South Africa thing, which was a long time ago, and I've kind of made it into my my special, not like special project. What am I trying to say? I pay more attention to South Africa and the whites there than anywhere else in the world other than my immediate surroundings. You know, like some people focus on Europe, people focus on different areas, but like mine is, you know, South Africa. And I used to think the same thing as your question, like how do we get them out of there? But Jack's right. Like getting them out of there is not. Firstly, let's throw this out there. It's not possible. The South African government, the Negroes and the Jewish companies there, like they have made it to where they can't leave. Most of them don't have the money to leave, right? And if they try to I mean, there's just no avenue for them to leave. Like no countries will take them. Canada, the only people that I could find records of them deporting in the last 7 or 8 years is a white South African family that tried to apply for refugee status there. That is the situation that white people find themselves in all around the world, right? They they're being genocided, they're being targeted by all these non-whites in their land, and they can't even seek refugee status in another country. And if they try, they get deported in a country like Canada, who is known for not deporting anybody ever. Period. So it's not even possible to get not even half of the white people in South Africa anywhere else. But even if it were possible, it's not ideal because what are they going to be doing? Running to another country that is also just being overrun with non-whites, and nothing will change. Somebody somewhere is going to have to take a stand and stake their claim to what their ancestors built for them. And I see no better candidate than South Africa myself because of the situation they find themselves in. Like they can't run. So why not fight? Why not stand up for themselves? So that's what Jack's getting at there, okay? Like if they run, then I mean they can't run. But even if they tried, like where does it end? Everybody just runs. We all run. I ran from, you know, my neighborhood. I live in the country now. Everybody runs. We got to stop running. Like we have to stop running.
We have to consolidate might to power. We actually need to get South Africans back to South Africa to fight for their homeland, right? And we need somebody in South Africa that represents white interest. Myself and TV, we do a lot of activism in real life now under our real names and stuff like that, right? We try to at every chance that we get.
Wait,
And you know what?
Yourself? People, there's like videos of Umbunku Basente doing activism. I can't believe you told your name. No, I'm playing. Go ahead.
Anyway, so, I don't know if TV is teasing me or whatever, but he says his parents listen to my real name in Afrikaans and they listen to my podcast in English. And then they say that this guy, real name, right, is stupid. But this guy, Jack, is very intelligent.
What, they say I'm stupid?
No, my real name, when I speak Afrikaans, because they can discern the difference.
Okay, I see what you. I was about to have my feelings hurt so bad. I was like, no, I love South Africans.
No.
Why would they say that about me?
No. But here's what I thought about it, right? So a lot of people, dude, when we get together on meetings and stuff, people push back at certain things. They'll say stuff like, "Oh, Jack and my other friend Divi, you guys swear too much. Oh, Jack, why are you yelling? You could have said the same thing, but you didn't have to. You didn't have to yell. You didn't have to yell, okay? Because yelling just does harm to your message." And I thought long and hard about that. I've been thinking about it, and I thought to myself, what is the problem? Why are they offended by the way I said things, or by the fact that I swore or whatever? And then it went off like a light bulb in my head. It's not how I said it; it's what I said. Because what I said requires you to act upon it, okay? And people are rightfully and understandably afraid to act on it. But listen to me now, right? It's not to say that I don't have any fears or that I'm not afraid. I am afraid sometimes, but I act regardless of being afraid, because you know what? That's the only chance we have. If we succumb, if we cower to our own fears, if we cower to all of that, nothing will change for us. We need to conquer our fear if we wish to have a future.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and one thing that scares me a lot more than, the idea of facing down all this shit head on is like not being here or not being able to do anything while my kids have to deal with even worse than what we're dealing with. That terrifies me, man. I don't even like thinking about it. I don't even like thinking about it. So yeah, that scares me a lot more. But anyways, I forgot what I was going to say next. But oh well, let's get on
But
with the
yeah,
video.
just to
Oh
clarify,
yeah.
dude.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Whenever I get passionate, I'm not necessarily. I wasn't that yelling at that guy. I'm yelling at the idea, right? That people, that our people have been so conditioned into repeating these things, right? And we need to fight against that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, here we go.
Maybe in Latin America or elsewhere. So, and the governments, you know, they're constantly in their rhetoric. They're constantly talking about taking the land and, you know, settling black farmers on the land, and
I want to take this one.
So on. It's constantly in their rhetoric, as in Julius Malema's rhetoric as well. But after almost 30 years, they haven't succeeded in doing that. I mean, they've been actually poured billions into it. They've actually bought land and settled black farmers on the land. And you know, some of the statistics suggest that 80 to 90% of those projects have actually failed.
Now, this one really pissed me off. Okay. And I know it pissed you off too, Jack, but let me give it a shot. This one pissed me off so bad because, like, he's sitting there trying to this is another cope. He's trying to get people to stop worrying about South Africa for some reason. This whole interview, he's been trying to portray this message of, actually, guys, are, you know, not in South Africa. White people around the world, don't worry about us. We're actually doing fine here. Right. And he uses the fact that the government hasn't been able to, or not been able, but the government hasn't outright just like on camera kicked white people off of a farm and then put black people on it. He's using that as some kind of win. My friend, it's never that black and white. And it's not that black and white here. No, they haven't done that cartoonish thing I just described. But what they have done is they have taxed the absolute shit out of white people and bought for the lowest possible price farm. Or, I'm sorry, not bought. They made a lot of farmers sell their land to the government for a very, very low price. And then they did give that land to black people. And it's not 80 or 90% failure rate. It's 100% failure rate. And so whenever that fails, then guess what they do? They don't give it back to the fucking white farmer that they forced into selling it. No, they give it to some fucking big, huge corporation in Russia or big, huge corporation in Australia. Most of them owned by Jews, right? That are now responsible for owning and running this farm. And guess what they do? They hire white people, some, at very low prices to do this farming that they used to fucking own. Yeah. And then they hire a bunch of blacks and put with them to where they're now on equal footing as employees with these motherfuckers that want to kill them, that just a year ago were targeting their fucking family for farm attacks and death and destruction. This guy is lying horribly. No, they haven't done the cartoonish, outright explicit, like, get off the land, we're giving it to the blacks. But they have been taking every back door they possibly can to fuck white people over, white farmers especially. They imply advocacy for farm attacks. They do absolutely nothing to criminals who get caught doing farm attacks. I mean, there was a couple of people, I think Jack told me about a couple of months ago or a few months ago, who were outright caught red-handed, having been the perpetrators of a farm attack where they killed, I think, everybody but one person on that farm, right, Jack? And then guess what? They let them go. They were found innocent by a jury of their peers. So, like, there is absolutely an atmosphere in South Africa of killing the farmers and taking their land at the very least, but they do it through all these different back doors and all this and that. And the government's not even worried really about giving the land to black people. That's not their goal. The government is worried, the black government is worried about taking their land and selling it to the highest bidder, some foreign highest bidder, because they do hate white people. So they kill two birds with one stone there. They get white people off the farm, and then they make money selling it to some foreign corporation owned by Jews. Like, that's what's going on. That's just the fucking fact. And for Dan Root to be like, oh, everything's just fine, nothing's changing, he's implying that nothing bad or worse is happening to white farmers. And that's just, it couldn't be further from the truth. And then you have to ask yourself, why the fuck is he doing that?
100%. He says they are not succeeding. They are 100% succeeding. The majority of farmers are old, and there is a very low percentage of white young white South Africans coming into the farming sector. In fact, if you don't inherit any land in South Africa, then there is almost no chance for you to get into the farming sector. Other than that, they want to make it so that you can't inherit land anymore, right? That's what they want to do. That is their goal. But what these people do is, you have to pay very careful attention to what I'm about to say. They always, when they start an argument like this, give you something which you agree and you know is true. He says to you that the black farms are failures. And then you think, lazy brain, yes, that's true. I'm going to agree with everything that this guy says from now on. But he never mentions the fact that the fact that when they take the farms, the objective is not to make a success out of black farmers. That has never been the objective. That's just to transfer ownership from the farmers to the state. The Jews will not have to buy the farmlands because they just have a puppet, a politician puppet that they control, and then they are given that land on which they can do as they wish. Because what they'll do is they'll start a mine, make some black the CEO of that mine. He gets a couple of thousand, couple of million. He's happy, and they're very happy. And white people are constantly being forced off the rural countryside. I've said this many times, but in 1911, there were 48% white people on the rural countryside. Today, there are 32% white people on the rural countryside. Okay, you think they're failing? They are succeeding in a very, very big way. Jeff, I posted in the private chat for you, Coop Agri, which is the not the biggest, it's one major agricultural corporation that supplies for agriculture. If you click on that website, you will see that through their imaging, they are trying to sell the idea that farmers are black. You will not see one white guy almost on any of their advertisements today anymore. If you go into their stores, you know the two-tone things that white people always have on, the farmers always have on. They dress these blacks like that, to sell the idea that blacks are the farmers. And let me tell you now a very interesting thing. I'll post the link here.
Yeah,
This
look at this.
corporation, which
I'm
is
sharing it.
supposed to. Okay, share it. Yeah, you can go on, click, if you will, on impact. And then
I
you
just want to look at
that
this.
image.
It says more than 30 new generation farmers graduate from so and so. And look, everybody in this fucking photo is black. Like it's telling you that all these young blacks are farmers. Let me tell you something. That idea is more ridiculous than saying that I am a Jedi Knight. Okay, black people are not farmers. I cannot mutate, control the Force. Okay, but I have a better chance of being a fucking Jedi than these big lip, violent, fucking not. What am I trying to say here? Fucking 1,000 kid having motherfuckers have of being farmers. I mean, I'm telling you, seeing this makes me so mad, dude. It makes me so mad. It's hard to even fucking think straight. What did you want me to click on? I just need to stop. What do you want me to click on?
100%. Just impact. Yeah, but it doesn't matter, dude. I'll follow this link quickly. I'll show you this link. So 100% they are succeeding. There's Sai. I posted it for you, Sai. You can open that one. So they are succeeding 100%. And like I said, the goal is not to create upcoming farmers. They want to sell you the idea. That's the idea they are selling you. So you're thinking, look at all these upcoming farmers. Ooh, this is so cool. Food security, all of that. The goal is to disown white people's land and to put it into the hands of the state because they know it. You know it. It's a statistical fact that black people cannot maintain a farm. Okay, now look at the stark difference here. Here you will see more white people, right?
All white people, except for this one token black here.
Yeah, okay, but you want to know something interesting about this corporation?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to know who founded it?
Yes.
The same man that is buying up insurmountable amount of agricultural land in America as we speak. You guessed it, Bill Gates.
Wow, dude. Fucking wow.
So white people are supporting this and flocking to this thing. And this is the Trojan horse. You know that Stu the Jager. I can send you the images. Well, I mean, it's not important for this show, but just trust me. There is nobody representing the white farmers in South Africa right now, and all of them are working together to disown us of our land. Do not think they are failing with expropriating the land. They have used a new strategy, and it is working extremely successful because, apart from myself, right? I'm the only person that I've ever heard speak to this on any kind of platform, right? And this is not one of those no white guilt moments. This is the truth.
He's the ass upon all asses.
Nobody's talking about this. Nobody. And that's why they are successful.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right, dude. You're absolutely right. I mean, like another point to rebut Dan Ruitt's thing here, like, oh, the government's not taking the land explicitly and putting it on the news, so everything's fine. No, listen, has the government here in America taken anybody's house or land and given it to a black person? No, they don't. They've never done that, and not to my knowledge, right? But have you had your wealth and your family nest egg and your well-being and the hope of a bright future taken from you and given to blacks? You bet your fucking ass you have, white people. Through what? Through a bunch of different means. Through entitlements to non-whites, through affirmative action, through different acceptance practices in colleges that favor non-whites. They have taken everything from us, but they've never fucking goon marched on any of our houses and then just put a black family in it. It doesn't mean that everything's fine here. The same way, just because they haven't explicitly like taken a white family off a farm and putting a black family there, it doesn't mean that everything's fine there. They're doing, like I said before, going back to this, it's the same there as it is here. It's the same playbook.
100%, dude. And then they incentivize something like Urania, which they say Urania from town to city. And then they sell you the let's not go there, okay? Whatever. I'm not going to go there. Let's just continue with this thing.
Everybody's black on this fucking page, dude. All these supposed farmers. Like the whole front page is black.
Because it's about narratives. It's about selling you a goddamn idea that doesn't exist. And they know it doesn't exist in the real world, so they want to create it in your imagination. So that when you start seeing it, you think to yourself, well, this isn't too strange.
What is a BBBEE?
Broad-based black economic BBB? Broad-based black economic empowerment.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's check this out. Okay, I'm just going to read this little thing here. I don't know where we're going with this really, but we'll find out. We recognize transformation.
Listen to this, dude. Sorry, what? Just quick thing. This guy says on your feet, the Dutch government is going to buy out Dutch farmers due to the climate hoax. If people don't want to be bought out, the government is going to force you to. This is a global conspiracy, dude. But anyway.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think the reason that they will try to do that and probably get away with it in places like that, like in Europe, places that aren't explicitly experiencing public anti-white sentiment and calls to kill all the farmers by blacks. Since that's not happening in, the Netherlands, like they'll just make the culprit the government,
Yeah.
Because if people did that, if the government did that in South Africa, it would raise a lot of eyebrows. Why? Because the government's run by blacks, and there is an extremely public opinion of black people in South Africa that they need to kill all the farmers and take their land. That's a red flag. That would throw up a red flag. But if they do that in the Netherlands, well, it's just government tyranny, right? And it's not striking a racial tone whatsoever. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah, the reason they will use the government there to do it is because there's no racial fight going on there.
That's 100%, dude. 100%.
All right, let's read this. We recognize transformation as critical to unlocking new opportunities to ensure all stakeholders benefit from our growth. CAP Agri received an overall level 3 contributor status after our last BBBEE assessment in November 2021 against the agricultural sector scoreboard. We achieved a procurement recognition spend of I don't think they worded that right. We achieved a procurement recognition spend of 110%, which is one of the leading scores in the agricultural industry. Additionally, more than 25% of Cap Agri's shares are also owned by BEE groups. So what they're saying is we fired a shit ton of white people and hired a shit ton of black people, and the government gave us a pat on the head. Therefore, we got more government money to keep doing it over and over and over again. Yay. This is to be celebrated by these motherfuckers. Like they think that this is a celebratory fact. The fact that our disenfranchisement is something they celebrate.
They don't think that. They're trying to convince you to think that. That is their plan. That's not what they think. That is their plan. That is their mission fucking statement. These people are so evil. It is that. So Dan Ruud saying that they are failing in to do this is making white people not understand the urgency of the problem. I hate that guy.
You hate what?
Dan Ruud.
Oh yeah, you and me both, pal. I mean, Dan Ruud is not even like he doesn't even have his own personality. You know who he is? He is Ernst Roots and Tucker Carlson and Tommy Robinson. They are all the same fucking guy. Like they're all just the same. Like they're all from the same batch of leeches that they all hatched in the same pod. They're just the same person with different accents. They sell their own people out for Jews. That's what they are. They disgust me too, Jack.
Yeah, dude, 100%.
And they've already expended so much money on that they don't have the cash left to do more. And the latest thing I heard that Ramaphosa was saying, he was hoping that white farmers would donate land. You know, so the president of the country, who is in charge of the this $1 billion budget, he's actually begging white farmers to donate land to blacks. I mean, where in the world have you heard something like that? But it shows just how desperate it has become. And I don't
know.
The government's desperate of South Africa, right? And the whites are in the seat of power. Fuck you, Dan Root. Wow. Dude.
Let me tell you one thing. During the past drought, more than 100 Boers shot themselves. The white South African farmers are the desperate ones because nobody is representing them. The only reason why Ramaphosa did that is for PR, right? Because that's part of a script that he has to follow. They are succeeding. You malicious fucking asshole.
Believe that this agricultural, what they call the so-called land reform, will ever take place because they've not been able to do it up to now.
It's taking place now, you piece of shit.
And of course, these farmers feed the entire population.
Well,
dude,
you see,
this
is
what he just said now. That's what he just said now. The number one focal point on which these Jews equate our value is the fact that no farmer equals no food. So they have reduced our identity to a fruit source for blacks. That is what white farmers are. And if you want to sell us like that to the entire world, fuck you, we don't want your sympathy. White people own this land. We made this land. This land is ours. We do not exist to make food for blacks. The mere reason why my brother went out of the farming industry is because he refuses to continue supplying food for blacks. So I hate this guy.
You and me both, big guy. You and me both.
Where viewing South Africa from afar and with perhaps an excessively cynical view, we can imagine someone like Julius Malema or Ramaphosa himself being persuaded that, okay, the time's come to do what they did in Zimbabwe and send in these black militants and, if necessary, just drive off the white farmers and take over their property. Now, is there any extent to which it's perhaps impossible to read the minds of the ANC government, but do they have any awareness of how spectacular failure that in fact was in Zimbabwe?
Well, Mr. Taylor, I wouldn't word it that way. Like I see what you're getting at there. It was a failure. If you think that the black people of Zimbabwe's goal was to to take over their farms and continue the white farmers' work and continue white people's economy, if you think that was their goal, then yes, it was a failure. But that was not their goal. It was never their goal. Their goal was fuck Whitey, kill Whitey. That was their goal in Zimbabwe. Or no, I'm sorry, not Zimbabwe, Rhodesia. That was their goal. And in that goal, they succeeded. Just because they went hungry after, they don't care. They don't care. They got to kill Whitey. That was their goal. And that's their goal here.
Exactly.
At some level, do they realize that?
Huh?
And you know why they are spending so many billions and billions of dollars towards relief aid for Africa to give food to the Africans?
Why?
It's because they are mustering an army to invade Europe at a given point in time. That is why the African population is exploding the way that it are, because nothing is natural about it. African population left to its own devices will decline faster than anything that you have seen in the entirety of the human history combined.
Dude, that might be the biggest brain take I've heard all year of any surrounding any topic. So just to reiterate for people that have trouble understanding your accent or weren't paying attention, what you just said was the reason that this African population explosion has happened and is continuing to happen, and charities, quote unquote, and NGOs all around the world keep funding programs to make the African black population explode, is because they have future plans to use that population to invade Europe. Is that what you're saying?
100%.
That's a goddamn, you know what? Galaxy brain take. Galaxy brain take. This show should just be called Boer Jack and Friends at this point.
Boer Jack and Friends.
Let's play this. I don't want you to talk anymore because I don't want you to have any more great takes.
Okay, sorry, dude.
Would be committing suicide. That would be killing the goose that lays the golden egg. If they send in these militant blacks who don't know a straw about farming and expect them to run these modern South African farms.
Yes, well, they have made noises about food security and so on, and I think they do realize that if there had to be a food shortage in the country and riots, and eventually it would also affect their power and their own supporters might turn against them as a result.
I just want to throw this really quickly out there. This guy is projecting his own mind onto the black population. Black people do not think that far into the future. So if you think that if he's sitting there trying to
far into the future,
they don't think. Yeah, they
black
don't think
people,
anytime in the future.
100%. My dad always says, Jeff, that they never go live one day more than a day's walk from a running water source. Never, ever, ever.
Yeah, I mean, like the thing about it is, it's reflected in their language. Like even in the African languages, whenever white people started going to Africa and discovered them and started kind of not like studying them, but studying their languages and that. None of those fucking black tribes had a word or a phrase to describe anything, any point in the future past a week, past 7 days or so, 10 days maybe. That's it. Like they don't even have words or concepts for the future farther out than that. What makes you think, Dan Ruitt, that you can sit there and try to justify the reasoning in these black people's heads whenever you're sitting there projecting out like the equations they're making up in their head that will play out 5 years in the future? You're just making this up, dude. You're just making this shit up. And like, why? That should be the main question everybody has after they watch this. Why is he doing all this lying? I mean, we already know, but you should just push the question anyway.
In fact, there's a very interesting movement going on at the moment where some of the young blacks are actually coming out against immigrants and immigration into South Africa. They want all the foreign African immigrants in the country to be sent back to their countries of origin. It's almost, if you had to translate it into European terms, it would be, it would be called an extreme right movement.
Oh my God, the chutzpah of Dan Ruitt here is it's unimaginable. It's unfathomable. You can't even, we don't have a scale to weigh it. It is so fucking huge. This dude is trying to tell you that there is a, quote, far right movement going on in Africa by blacks against black immigrants. And that is their focus. Fuck fuck you. Hang on, he's not done though. I just remembered he's actually not done. Watch what he does here, and then Jack, you can respond to it because it's going to make me so mad that I won't be able to get a proper thought out. So you can take this one. Just let him finish it.
In South Africa, but it's black. So, but the government's very concerned about that because it's actually also torpedoing their classical kind of black nationalist, Pan-African type of discourse that they've had for decades. Ever since the Second World War, even earlier than that. These people like W.B. Du Bois. He also was one of the founders of that. So. In their own ranks and among the young blacks, it's actually they are being threatened, I think. And some of these younger blacks, like this anti-immigration fellow, Dlamini is his surname, they're not particularly hostile towards whites because they realize that whites play a very useful role.
All right, Jack, have at it.
What Dan Rutte is doing here is he is basically channeling white people into the role of being the providers for blacks, not upsetting the status quo, and he's never addressing the fact that black people themselves, these young black youths that he is championing so much, are immigrants to this country as well. They aren't even from this country, yet he affords them the right to do what white people should actually do. This is the most conservative-minded take of all times. Oh, I as a white man can't fight for myself, so I'll get a black man to fight for me. I'll get a homosexual to represent me. I'll get a woman to represent me. I'll get a transgender to represent me. How about this, Dan? How about you say that black people don't belong here in the first place? That they are the original immigrants. And by the way, they aren't attacking Zimbabweans in this big conforted effort to oust the immigrants. The blacks that do that is very localized, and they do that only because they want to loot their spaza shops. Okay?
Yeah.
Is there anything more that you wanted to say about that?
Oh, I thought you weren't done. Yeah, there is something more I want to say about that. The fact that this guy just said, like, that these newer, younger blacks aren't even particularly hostile to whites is offensive to the max. Like, if he, and I'm not gonna Fed post here, but hypothetically, if he were in the same vicinity as I was in, and he were to say that out loud, I might just forget that he is an old, weak, probably homosexual retard, and I just might whip his fucking ass. Those are fighting words. Like, do you understand? He does, but I'm just saying, you have to take into consideration what's actually happening in South Africa, the sentiment that blacks of all ages have toward white people. And if anybody, actually, if any of these blacks are softer on white people, it's actually the really old ones, because they remember what it was like under apartheid. These new ones, they're fucking worse. These younger ones are worse. They want to drop the mask, the facade. Like, it's just kind of like whenever a white person gets red pilled, they get all angry and they're like, oh yeah, fucking, all this fucking retarded like Fed posting stuff. Not that they would follow through on it, but just, you know what I'm saying. You get over aggressive and you're just mad because you just learned all this truth, and the truth is angering. Well, it's like that with blacks, except for it's all fucking lies, and their testosterone's higher because they're younger, and they're like, yes, kill all the white people. And
who kills all the farmers on the farm attacks?
Yeah, is it boomers stuck in a weird old mindset
No,
and
it's
ideology?
people,
No, it's these
people
fucking
between
young
the
ones.
age of, people between the age of 16 and 25.
Fucking, and Dan Root has the nerve to say that the younger blacks,
you know why he said that?
aren't even really hostile to whites. Because he's trying to make everybody like not care. He's trying to make everybody He's trying to put people at ease about South African whites when they should not.
Yes, and that thought comes from Rolf Botha, Roelof Botha, Rolf Meyer, and the guys that sold South Africa to Cyril Ramaphosa, the guys that gave away our country, literally verbatim repeat those words. that the black youth are not radical, and that through education they will come to the table and realize the value of white people as as a resource to maintain stability in the country. So Dan Ruet is part of the clique, literally, that sold this country off. And now he's sitting here in American Renaissance speaking on behalf of white people. It is just the same as Mark Oppenheimer defending white people in the court case against Kill the Boer, Kill the Farmer. When Mark Oppenheimer's great grandfather said that all Boers deserved to be exterminated. Literally, that's a quote.
In South Africa. So it's merely these geriatric sort of Afro-communist.
It's only the geriatric Afro-communist blacks that want white people to die. Get the fuck out of town.
Leaders in the ANC, and then these extremists like Julius Malema, who are holding forth in trying to destroy the whites or drive them off the land or nationalize their assets.
So there's really nothing to worry about then, right, Dan Ruet? Is that what you're telling us? Like, don't worry. The only people that want to kill Whitey are old people and incompetent retards that nobody takes serious. That's not what's going on in South Africa, Dan. And you know it, Dan. Dan, you know it, Dan. That's why all your rich buddies, Dan, they all live in gated communities with security guards 24/7, Dan. If it were only geriatric retards and extremists that nobody takes seriously that wanted to kill white people, South Africa would not look the way it looks now. You are a liar. And not only that, you're lying for the worst fucking reason imaginable and pretending to be one of us on a platform hosted by someone who actually does give a shit. And this is unforgivable.
Assets and so on.
I just had the strangest vision in my mind. I was imagining if we had an ANC government spokesman sitting at this table. It's a big enough table for all three of us.
Yes.
And it would be fascinating to hear a thoughtful, some of the ANC people are probably just, as you say, these aging Afro-communists who are just going to speak in platitudes.
Yes.
But it would be interesting to have someone who represented the power structure in some way, but who was reflective enough to be able to comment intelligently on the things that you're saying.
Now, this is probably probably just my own headcanon, and it's most definitely wishful thinking, and it's definitely coming from a place of bias and fanboying hardcore to Jared Taylor. But in my head, what I heard just then was, Dan, I don't really believe a fucking word you're saying, and it would be nice to have one of these Negroes up in here to question about it, because I don't think you're telling the truth. I think what he's saying basically, I don't think that he believes Dan Ruet, but he's trying not to be rude and say that, obviously, because he wouldn't do that, especially on air. But I don't think he buys what this fucking guy's selling. And that's why he's saying it would sure be nice to have somebody else in here, to see what they think about it. Because, I think Jared Taylor, he's not stupid enough to believe that, that only a tiny little percentage of useless, powerless blacks hate whites. He fucking knows better. He knows better, dude.
Well, how about this? I implore Mr. Taylor to get at his table 2 young Boers that live here in South Africa that represent the white South Africans, the Boers, the rightful owners of this land, to give their perspective, the real perspective of what happens to somebody that is not filthy rich and living in a gated community. People that have to give an insurmountable amount to maintain what they have, to fight for what they have on an economic level, on a moral level, and on a morale level. How about that? Mr. Taylor, please have us on and let us give our perspective on South Africa. That's what I want.
And don't hold my cursing against old Jack here, okay, Mr. Taylor? There's more important things in the world going on than the fact that some dago is on YouTube cussing. That doesn't mean anything about Jack. He's a good fella.
Perhaps there's no such person. Probably there's no such person who would join us at this table today. But there.
I said you called it, dude.
Oh, okay, I called it. Yeah, Jared Taylor's like, yeah, nobody would corroborate what you're saying, you lying piece of shit.
must be fascinating conversations going on among the more intelligent, more thoughtful ANC types, perhaps some of the younger people, who do sympathize with these younger black South Africans who don't want their jobs taken by Malawians or Mozambicans or wherever it is they're coming from. I understand that there are sometimes riots against these people.
Yes. Oh, yes.
That would almost be like, I don't know, the Cubans in America rioting and burning the places that the Mexicans are running. That kind of, wait a minute, we're here and we belong here, but you don't, and out you go. There's a certain almost, I don't know, primitively admirable nationalism about this. Of course, we wouldn't want it to take such violent form. But what is the government's attitude towards that kind of? I mean, sometimes it's outright murderous violence, is it not?
It is, yes. In 2008, they called it the so-called xenophobic riots. 80 people were killed during the
80 people.
80, yes, and not a single perpetrator was charged with anything, murder or assault.
Hang on.
There's 80 dead people and
More
not a
than
single
4,000 Boers. More than 4,000 Boers have been murdered in South Africa. And please show me how many people have been persecuted, have been brought to justice for that. Please. So how is this relevant in any way, shape, or form? The fact that 80 blacks were killed and nothing was done to it about it. You know?
Yeah, exactly, dude. I mean, like I just said earlier, the blacks that were caught red-handed committing a farm attack, murder on white people, were literally let go. Right? I mean, since I brought that up, will you give me the exact specific details? I can't remember, just so people know I'm not like bullshitting. What was that? What are the details surrounding that?
I don't even know it myself, you know, but I know that
you're the one that told me
it's
about it.
What? Wait, what? Repeat,
You're the one that told me about it. It was a few months ago. You told me about these blacks that were caught, like they were caught doing a farm attack. They killed a white family, and they were arrested, but then they were let go. You told me about this. Wait, was that the thing that sparked the white
thing?
Yeah, that's what that was, right?
Yeah, they're free.
Okay, there you go.
Listen here. The guy that led the protest is in jail at Senegal. The blacks that killed Brendan Horner are on free foot. They have been let free. They've been
let free. Yeah.
The guy that led the protest is in jail for terrorism. Or that's what they wanted to put him in jail for. It's not what he actually went to jail for, but that's what the media sells it as, right? Is wanting us to believe. But the blacks that literally murdered somebody is on free foot. They have not been prosecuted. They have been let free. They have been found innocent. Okay? So, how's this relevant, Danderwood? Why aren't you talking about that?
Yeah, exactly, dude. And let's see, MHD in chat says, Dan reminds me of Solidarity and Afroforum. They're playing a two-faced game here, and there's some that believe everything they say. Yeah, dude, well said. I couldn't say it better myself. But the reason he sounds like them is because they're all cut from the same gay-op cloth. You know, they're all just the same people. 100%. Same sniveling snakes, dude. And to tie it all back, what I said earlier, the same thing's happening here. Like, look at the guy that beat up that old man and the black dude. I don't remember his name. I think it's Jaden something, maybe. He beat up that old man in the nursing home and he killed him. The guy died a week afterwards, right? They let that motherfucker go because they said he was too crazy to stay in trial. Okay, and then they're trying to do the exact same thing with the Negro that killed Jupiter Paulson recently, or I think it was like a year ago, but it's been in the news recently because the NJP went to protest over it. Like they're trying to let him off with a crazy plea because he says he's bipolar, and I guarantee you they'll fucking try the exact same thing with that dirty Negro animal that ran over all those white people in Waukesha at the Christmas parade. Like the Negroes kill white people in America and get away with it. Okay, Negroes kill white people in South Africa and get away with it. Non-whites kill white people in Europe, all over the place, and get away with it.
White people advocate on behalf of white people in South Africa, and they get thrown in jail. That is the stance of things. That is the reality.
Yep. I mean, how many people? How many times have we done a story on this very show where someone was arrested because they put up stickers of the rightstuff.biz? I think twice we've done fucking stories on and that's just people putting stickers on a telephone pole. That is the tip of the iceberg. People in America do get thrown in jail for protesting, for free, what's supposed to be their free speech, First Amendment. It's just not as different as people think it is. And the reason people think it's so different here than South Africa is because of liars like this guy.
People and not a single conviction or criminal charge. So, yes, that also speaks volumes about the criminal justice system in South Africa.
Well, but does it also say anything about the sympathies that the authorities might have for these nationalist Black South Africans? Or is it really just a question of incompetence? Perhaps it's impossible to say.
It's incompetence, but they're also, I think they're scared of actually prosecuting people like that because there would be a political backlash against them, even though they don't support those people because they are dreaming, they are really dreaming of Wakanda or something like that. They think that Africans are still building Wakanda, and they're going to have, there's a thing called the African Union, and it's.
So, well, hang on, just real quickly. That actually flies in the face of what he said like 3 or 4 minutes ago, whenever he said that the only people that have, the only people that want to kill Whitey is these old geriatric, blacks, communist blacks, and then like the extremists that nobody cares about. So it can only be one of those two there, Dan. Either only a tiny, useless % of black people want to kill Whitey in South Africa, or so many fucking people, so many blacks in South Africa hate Whitey that there would be a significant political backlash for arresting blacks who are committing murderous extremism. Which one is it, Dan? You can't even keep up with your own lies, you piece of shit.
It's going to be like the European Union, and there's going to be free movement of people all over Africa and an African currency. They're just, I mean, the economists are quite open in saying that it's impossible and just a pipe dream, but it doesn't prevent them from talking about these things and having conferences about it and making declarations and signing documents and so on. And it's almost as if the ANC is really busy with make-believe government in a sense. And
Jack, you got a take on that?
Make-believe government. No, I didn't pay enough attention to what he said.
Oh, it's okay.
Honestly,
it's all good. I think that he'll clarify. He's going to kind of repeat it. You'll get it here in a second. Tell me if you want me to pause it.
And they drive in these black cars along, with escorted along the roads, and I mean, the AA has even come out against those things, saying that they cause accidents, and it's not always necessary for somebody to get from A to B at the maximum speed and with all the other road users being pushed off the road. But that's what they do. That's what they're busy doing. They imagine themselves to be these world leaders, like a Joe Biden with Air Force One and a cavalcade of Cadillacs, and they've got a cavalcade of BMWs and Mercedeses, and they're going to show people we're in charge. But in fact, many people, even blacks themselves, have said that they are not in charge. There's sort of a phrase where some.
Well, he's correct in saying that they aren't in charge, and he's
for the
correct
wrong
in
reason.
saying that there is, for the wrong reason. But he's correct in saying that there is that aspect to what he's saying. But if you oppose authority, then you will see very quickly how real, the authority is. That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he to me, what he's saying is like, he's saying that like even black people some of them acknowledge that whites are actually in control here, but like that's not true. So he is telling the truth in saying that a significant portion of black people realize that they're not actually in control, but he leaves out the fact that those blacks say in their heads they think that white people are in control, but the reality spells out and dictates, and it's plain to see that it's Jews that are in control of this shit, and they just let people think they're white. These blacks are too retarded to understand. Most white people don't even understand the difference. I mean, that's the reality. Reality versus black narrative, right? And you should fucking know that those two are going to be different, right? I mean, black narratives are never correct. They're never based in reality. But like, that's a significant thing he's leaving out there. He's letting the
100%.
viewers, he's kind of implying and letting the viewers believe, due to his implication, that don't worry, guys. Actually, white people are the ones in control still because they're so smart and entrepreneurial. So they're no, blacks are not in control. True, but whites are definitely not in control, my friend. It's these fucking Jews. It's the Jews, the same ones fucking forcing farmers off their land and then selling it to Russian Jews. It's the same fucking Jews that get Julius Malema up in court on the stand and then give him softball fucking questions to perpetuate his narrative to a whole country and radicalize them against white people as well and push back zero. And everybody fucking thinks that this Jew lawyer, Oppenheimer, is white. So they 100%. See a rich, powerful person that's all over TV, all over the place all the time. They think he's white. And that's why they think that white people have the power, but they're fucking wrong. People like that are Jews.
100%, dude. Well,
fucking, I hate Dan Ruitt. Holy shit, I really hate this guy. I hate him more than I realized I hated him yesterday.
Some of these more kind of politically correct black people in South Africa have said,
politically correct black people, Jack. Keck.
We're in power, but we're not in charge, and that is to a large extent true.
But why, Dan?
Well, I love this phrase you use that the ANC is involved in make-believe government. Well, that sounds like the perfect job for them.
Mr. Taylor, I understand that you love that phrase. Like I understand the pull to want to love that phrase. Because if that were the case, like the way he's painting it, it would take a lot of worry and stress off of white people around the world. But he's selling you a bag of lies, Mr. Taylor. It's not as easygoing for white people in South Africa as this man is making it out to be. It's actually quite the opposite.
Exactly.
Let them.
Yeah. Thank you, Dan. He even agreed with me. He said exactly.
Let them pay themselves fat salaries, engage in make-believe, and then let the private sector, primarily white people, actually run the country.
No.
See, do you see what just happened? Jared Taylor came to the exact conclusion that we said Dan was trying to fucking make people, like, convince people of. Like,
yes,
it worked
100%.
on Jared Taylor.
Yeah, exactly. There are, dude, maybe 3 white people in the private sector, if it is so many. And they were only put there, for explicit reasons. The private sector belongs to the Jews almost exclusively. That's why the what do you call it? The South African Reserve Bank is in the hands of the private sector.
Who were some of the prominent whites in South Africa that the black population would associate with being pro-white and pro-farmer? Let's look. This guy here.
None.
He's one of them. No, I'm saying black people would look at this guy. They'd say, "Oh, I see him on TV. He's advocating for whites, blah blah." So let's say, who are those figures? Dan Ruitt is one of them. And what is his message? A bunch of fucking lies. And he never explicitly is like advocating for whites. Ever. Never. Odin Sarus is another one. He's supposed to be one of these pro-white, pro-farmer people, but no, he's not. What's his actual message? Very Tucker Carlson like. He's pro-minority, right? And he does not
100%.
advocate for whites. He advocates for, quote, minorities. And he advocates harder for Chinese and Indians than he ever fucking has for white people, ever. And how's he treated by the Jews? He gets his own private security fucking detail that save him from black crime when he's out with his family at a restaurant. Like, is it any coincidence that the fucking people that the blacks in South Africa think are the ones who are advocating for whites are actually a bunch of fucking Shabbos goys pushing Jewish narratives? No, they are put in those positions because they say the right things, the things that Jews tell them to and want them to. Just like here.
Exactly.
Just like here, dude.
Just like America, just like Europe, just like Australia. Everywhere, the same playbook.
God damn it. No, I'm just kidding. Big brain. Oh,
Southern Dingo is underrated.
Who said that? Who said that?
Lincoln Rockwell's grandson.
Oh, that's my alt. That's my alt. I'll type that.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just playing.
And that to some extent is already happening, I would say. And people, even some of the mainstream political commentators have also, perhaps not in those terms, but they have expressed that idea already, that they are just involved in their kind of talk shop politics all the time, and the private sector is literally running the country. Without them, it would have come.
He's right for the wrong reason.
Well, he's right for the wrong reason. Yeah, he's right for the wrong reason.
This happens a lot. He's right for the wrong reason. Yeah.
To a standstill a long time ago. It's just that they are just taking too much taxes still.
Yeah.
But I know in the small businesses, they're paying very little tax and they're losing every.
Small businesses pay very little tax, Jack. Did you know that?
Well, I wish that were the truth.
Jack, listen.
Let me just give you the exact number. You want to know? I mean, stop whining. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you need to stop whining, because here's the deal: the real victims of the South African government are the big, huge corporations in the private sector, says Dan Ruitt. The small business owners, they're fine. They don't have to abide by BEE. They don't have to pay a lot of taxes. It's actually these poor multinational billion-dollar companies that are the real victims here.
Oy vey. Do you want to know what the average taxpayer in South Africa pays?
Please.
75%. 70 cents on the dollar,
Well, I wonder what the corporations pay.
A lot of them don't actually even pay tax, dude.
So you're telling me that like here, it's the same in South Africa. Kind of the theme of the day, right?
Exactly, dude. It's and what I just said, for anybody that's gonna think that they're a smart ass saying, no, the tax rate is this. This is literal statistics published by the South African government themselves, right? That the average South African pays 70. Mac Maharaj, right? Published this, saying that 75%, 75 cents to the rand is paid in taxes, and this is in hidden taxes and straight taxes. South Africa is, I think, one of the countries with the most taxes in the world. So yeah, I don't know. like you said, this guy's selling an idea to people to protect his class and to undercut my class.
Yeah, and like the way that Jack is talking about 75%, it's like taxes in South Africa are different than America. I mean, obviously the base structure is the same. There's an income tax, and then there's sales tax, and this and that, and then there's local and state tax or whatever, or not local and state. I'm sorry. Then there's local taxes. The thing about South Africa that makes it different is there's a huge chunk taken off the top that's federal taxes, or what we would call federal taxes, right? Like government tax. I think it's a little over half, but they pay a special fuel tax, and then they also pay way more sales tax than we do. So since they pay these different rates of sales tax and the fuel tax, there are formulas that you can plug these numbers into where you can get a comparative tax rate as compared to like a U.S. tax system. And that's how they get the 75%. I mean, it's all legit. I'm not a mathematician. I can't like fucking write it on a chalkboard for you here right now. I just remember watching multiple videos on it and understanding it after smarter white men than myself explained it to me. And you can find those same videos. Just go check it out. I mean, but who cares? We're talking about taxes here anyways. Do you really think after everything that we fucking said, been proven right on, that we would be lying to you about taxes? That's actually the least of the Boers' problems, is the fucking tax rate. Like, we're not even trying to die on this hill. Like, there's blacks trying to fucking kill every white person that they come across. Everybody has to have like dogs to try and deter blacks. Farmers live constantly in worry about attacks all the time, to the point where they have to have CB radios to communicate with each other to try to form this long distance neighborhood watch that is impossible. Who gives a fuck about the tax rate?
Dude, but exactly. But just to address it, just to show how much of a liar this asshole is, there's also import tax. There's thousands of different hidden taxes, is what we call it. But to give you the idea, my rifle that I bought for myself, right, is in America $1,400, right? But retail, not wholesale, retail price. In South Africa, due to import tax, that same rifle is $2,125.
Damn.
Yeah, that's $725 in income tax. In import tax.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I don't know if that was actually the video I saw. I don't even know if that was factored into the equation. I don't think it was, because the only other taxes they factored in to this little equation was taxes that like you can't get around. Because you could make the argument that not everybody imports anything, but like everybody pays
Oh
sales
my
tax.
God. Yeah, dude, but South Africa, being a third world country, is a net importer. Okay,
Yeah,
not a net exporter. So
yeah.
Anyway.
Somebody in chat said taxation is theft. Hey, I hope that's a joke. I hope that's a meme. Surely we don't have our first unironic libertarian in chat, do we? Listen, the non-aggression principle, man. Borders are bullshit, man. Taxation is theft, man. No shit. I haven't had to make that. I haven't had to argue against the libertarian perspective on taxes in a long time. I think I'm a little rusty, but I'm pretty sure it's like riding a bike. I could do it. You know, like, no, listen here. Taxation today is theft because it's being taken from us by people not in our collective, and our states,
Yes,
our
exactly.
societies are set up. Our societies are set up not based on a nation being a collective family, but in the way a nation's supposed to be. Taxation is absolutely a burden that everyone has to bear equally. You know, we believe in collectivism, whether that be collective success or collective contribution. So that's my argument against like taxes. Taxes are necessary. You want to keep the fucking invaders out of your homelands? Well, we're all going to have to pitch in a little bit there, man. Taxation is theft. Well, this taxation is theft. Okay, I think people alive today have never paid $1 in tax that wasn't theft. So I get where that's an attractive argument, but just bear with us. Come to the third position. Fuck all this gay shit.
Possible loophole in the tax laws that exist.
He said tax hole.
to get away from paying taxes or paying just the absolute minimum. So, you know, in a smaller business, more sort of anarchic business sector.
He just said that small businesses have tax loopholes where they don't have to pay any taxes, Jack. It's the opposite of the fucking reality.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, if I don't know, I suppose, you know, that he's not wrong in that one. I'm not gonna say, you know, I'm not gonna lie. There are certain loopholes that you can, but if you are caught out for that, then you will be put in jail, you know. But you can not pay taxes as a small business and fly under the radar. But if they catch you, you know, you're gonna go to jail. So it's not legal.
Yeah, I mean, but that's not the
But it's
operating
just-
narrative of how small businesses work in South Africa. And also, there are not loopholes, but explicit laws on the books that actually do benefit big, huge corporations over small businesses.
Yes, yes,
so
yeah.
whether or not people are like ducking this tax loophole or that tax loophole in a small business, it is totally different, far and away from the explicit laws in tax laws on the books that benefit big, huge corporations and not small businesses.
Oh, it's already a kind of an Ayn Rand.
I mean, everybody skirts taxes. I skirt taxes. Although I would if I were a business. I don't skirt taxes. I have never done that. But
neither have I, and neither would I ever.
I totally skirt taxes all the time. Fuck you.
And world of you know, Milton Friedman or something.
But Jeff Bezos hasn't paid a fucking dime of federal income tax in how long? So yeah, a little different.
With minimal government and maximum profits.
Gosh, well, it sounds as though if things continue to move in this direction, you would have this titular but essentially make-believe government.
Precisely.
While the competent people, mainly whites, make things happen.
No, God, no.
Oh,
exactly. You know,
Jared, no. Oh, shit, Jared.
I'm surprised talking to people, you know, even, you know, teachers or lecturers and people like that, they've all got money. You know, they say, yo, I've sold. And the amazing thing is that somebody with a job like that, they might even run a little business on the side. Like
he said, like these teachers and
why are they running a fucking business on the side, you fucking goddamn moron? Sorry.
Yeah. Why do people have to run a business on the side?
Why do people have to work 3 or 4 jobs in America?
He's making them sound like he's making them sound greedy or something. He's making it sound like they just, they got plenty of money, but they just have to have more, so they open a business on the side. Like, dude, he's painting the just absolute opposite picture of South Africa, of what reality is, dude, in every way. He's saying that young blacks actually don't hate whites. Small businesses are the ones that benefit from the government tax platform. Farmers are not losing their land to huge corporations overseas. Like, everything he's saying is just, it's gotten progressively more wrong. And it's actually kind of respectable. I can't believe he has the balls to lie like this. Like, that takes some fucking chutzpah.
It doesn't take chutzpah if you know that nobody will oppose you. So, I mean, you know.
Point taken. Good point.
A guest house or something like that.
You're talking about white people.
Yes, white
Yes,
people. And then they've got millions of rands in the bank. You know?
Oh my God, I fucking hate this piece of shit.
Oh, dude. Yeah, millions of rands of debt, maybe, in the bank.
And looking for investment opportunities.
Well, for
yeah,
goodness sake,
it's happening.
See, this is so different from the image that we have of this constantly collapsing South Africa.
Because he's lying to you, Jared.
And it makes your perspective so fascinating to those.
It's fascinating because it's a fucking fairy tale.
Because it's
unicorns
fictional.
are fascinating.
Yeah.
Those of us who have this very, very gloomy view. But it bespeaks a kind of possible accommodation, at least if the power structure is strictly African. But how many, would you say, how many white people still? I mean, I know there's still white liberals in South Africa. They run the newspapers and the radio and the television, or it seems they seem to.
Yeah, that's one I was watching the other night, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait till we play that on stream. Mr. Jared, Uncle Jared, with the very best mustache in the entire world. You know that that's not what's going. You know that white people are not the journalists and reporters in South Africa. You know that those people are not white. You know it, and they're not. They're Jews.
Although I would say that there's even been a kind of a change in their language over the last 5 years or so. You know, those sort of diehard liberals are now hard to find. And, you know, that even these liberal journalists have written books denouncing government corruption and incompetence. And, you know, one of the well-known liberal politicians from South Africa.
This guy's saying, he's basically saying that journalists even are now saying, like, they're changing their tune. You know, they used to be diehard liberals, but now they're writing op-eds about how the government's wrong, the government incompetence. I've seen plenty of articles that are less than a year old out of South Africa that are criticizing the government for being incompetent. At what, though? They're criticizing government incompetence because black people are suffering too much or some shit. That's the only time I see them bitch about the government.
Yes. You want me to show you videos of how rampant fucking liberalism is in South Africa? It's a goddamn pandemic in South Africa. Liberalism isn't dying down, it's thriving because it is encouraged, okay? Because it is financially incentivized. What the hell? Liberals have gotten worse, way worse.
Yeah,
way worse.
Just like they have here. Once again, it's the same there as here.
Hello used to be the leader of the opposition at one point. I mean, she's been in trouble for some of her tweets where she said something to the effect that colonialism also brought good to Africa. You know, she said that once, and it caused an absolute scandal and so on. So, you know, people are, I think, coming towards this.
Well, I mean, doesn't that kind of like speak to the atmosphere in the fucking country, Dan? That you can't even point out that colonialism brought some good things, which is a vast understatement, by the way. But you can't even understate such an obvious thing without getting in trouble. Doesn't that kind of go right in the face of the paradise that you're painting for white people in South Africa? I mean, this dude, like I said, he can't even keep track of his own lies there.
New perspective where where the positive contribution of whites is being acknowledged in both the past and in the present. There's been a re-evaluation.
No, there's not been a fucking okay.
And anybody with any sense can see that the government was run better in the past than it is now, especially at the municipal level. And then you've got the Western Cape province, which is not at the provincial level, it's not under ANC control. And we went there last year to Plettenberg Bay with my youngest son, and he'd never been there before, and he said this feels like another country. And it's true. As soon as you drive over the provincial borders, suddenly the roads are pristine. There's no litter like.
Is he talking about Cape Town?
No, he's talking about Plettenberg Bay. So it's in the Western Cape still. But yes, the infrastructure is better there, but no, it doesn't feel like you drive into a country. You've got the same squatter camps next to the good sites. You got everything that you got, but you just got better roads. That's the only thing that's different. And what's the other thing that he said that was so important, man? Oh, man. Oh, why is he saying, listen here, he's saying that everybody acknowledges the fact, right, that things were governed better when it was under white government. But here's something, Dan, nobody acknowledges the fact that white people's country was stolen from them, right? Who the hell cares to what degree the country is being governed? That is not at matter. What the source of it all is the fact that blacks do not belong in this country. This country belongs to us. Think about it in your own personal how do you say, frame of reference. How would you feel if blacks came to the Netherlands and started running your government into the ground if they took control, right? Would you feel honored by the fact that they acknowledge and that people acknowledge that it was better ran under a white government? Or would you feel grieved at the fact that your country is no longer your own?
No, yeah, I think my focus would primarily be like, how well oiled of a machine the government was before the blacks got there. Like, I wouldn't even care that I wouldn't care what kind of people make up the country. As long as the government runs well, I don't care. What are you talking about? I don't care what I don't see race. I'm not like that.
Around, and things just flow and it functions, and you can see there's order there, and the services are provided, the buildings are maintained.
You know what I think he's probably doing here? Because I think what he's doing here is like he's accidentally doing the thing where he's speaking as an elite. I'm sure that the area where he's describing, that probably is like a hub for rich people, different than where rich people hang out in other parts of the country. That's probably what he's probably just like defining Mar-a-Lago in America terms or whatever. Like, oh, America's 100%. Great. You could go to so and so in California and it's lovely. Yeah, that's because only like rich Jews are there and like there's no crime and shit. But that speaks 100%. Nothing to the country as a whole.
Hey, well put, dude. No, well spotted. That's exactly what it is. It's the place where the rich white people have holiday homes.
And that's because the ANC is not in charge.
Exactly.
Who is running the government there?
Well, it's the Democratic Alliance, the opposition party.
Is that true? I mean, is the ANC or whatever not in charge of this area?
On a municipal level, yes, because the municipality is run by the DA.
Okay, and give us a quick briefing. Who is that for people that don't know the DA?
They were headed by Helen Zille, but it was Tony. Let me just remember Tony. What was his name? Democratic. What was his name? Founder, DA founder, Tony
Steinberg.
He found some Jew. No, I'm gonna tell you now. Who founded the DA? Come on, man. What was his name? They got some black in now, but Helen Zille led it for a long time. She was the Jew that that had her hands in the founding of the Black Sash. She harbored black terrorists against the apartheid government.
Was it
Harry
de Klerk?
Schwartz was one of the party's founders and most prominent leader under the appointed South African ambassador. So it was all Jews. Basically, the DA is the Jewish party of South Africa. Like that, all their top structure are Jews. I forget the name of that guy, man. Tony
It's not.
Lee, Tony Leon, Tony Leon, Tony Leon, Tony Leon. Yeah, Tony Leon.
Okay.
That's the Jew.
But
yeah.
it's and on an ethnic level, it's an alliance between the white voters and the colored or mixed race voters in that area.
Now he said on an alliance level, it's like an alliance between white voters and colored voters in that area. Is that true?
No, it is not true. That's just what they want to achieve. They've got this message. They always say this thing. Oh, ja, Martinus van Schalkwyk was ook daar. But anyway, so they always say, oh, we know we'll never vote out the ANC if we don't, take hands. Whenever we're done, voting out the ANC, then we can dispute our, differences or whatever.
So I would say that that's probably comparable to, like, in U.S. terms, I don't know if you're familiar with this term, a group of people that they refer to themselves as like the new right. It had like Mike Cernovich, Blair White, the tranny, Lady MAGA, the cross-dresser, Candace Owens, people like that, right? Would you say that that's something comparable to that in South Africa, or what?
That's exactly comparable to that. I mean, they're setting up Aaron's Roots for a major role in South Africa. I think they're going to secede South Africa into a new multicultural. I mean, one of the richest people in South Africa, Chris Wiese. Now, you remember Hein Marx? He is now the head of the treasury for the ULA. The AfriForum last year came out openly. I've been predicting this since 2016, right? That they said that they are going to lead the secessionist movement in South Africa. So the major political players in South Africa is now going to push big to secede the Cape Town. And that's also why the ANC has never taken power of the Western Cape, because the Jews, actually, there's this big conspiracy where the Jews want to build the Western Cape up as a second Israel in case Israel were actually nuked, then they're going to make their new ethno state in the Western Cape. Just an interesting little thing there. But yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
Interesting.
Well,
I can show you the symbolism and stuff at some point,
All you have to do is tell me, big guy. I'll take you at your word.
So they formed this alliance and they're keeping out the ANC to their utter frustration. And yes, and it's going also its own way. And the municipalities there, like the municipality of Cape Town, they are looking at alternative energy, generating their own energy. So in a few years' time, Cape Town might be completely independent of Eskom and a lot of the other municipalities there, because they'll be generating their own electricity.
This is remarkable, because so on the one hand, you have one province in which there is at least semi-competent government doing the things government is supposed to do. And then in the other provinces and at the national level, you have this incompetent government whose functions are being taken over by the private. So you have almost these competing models of how to run a society.
Precisely. Yes. Yes. In the Western Cape, it's as you say, the provincial government and the municipalities, and in the rest of the country, the private.
Did you say pause?
Oh no, sorry, I was talking to my wife. Sorry.
Oh, you just reminded me about something, by the way.
What?
The big bad Mr. Jack. Oh, Jeff, you'd fucking cuck for changing diapers, okay? I've never had to change my son's diaper, okay? I just want everybody to know. Yesterday. Yes. Oh, I'm telling everybody, Jack. Yesterday, Big Bad Boer Jack had to get off the phone in a hurry. Why? Because his big bad wife shot him a look, apparently. He goes, all right, Jeff, I have to go. My wife is looking at me all mean, okay? I'm terrified. Okay, bye.
Oh, yeah. She's giving me that look again. I gotta go now.
How come, Jack? Every time we Americans think that we found a good white leader for South Africa, he turns out to
Yes.
be a charlatan. Now, Dan Root might be a liar and you might not be, but at the end of the day, you portrayed yourself as a man who would not be terrified of his wife, yet turns out you are. Why'd you lie?
What, I lie? Maybe I
Yeah.
was lying the entire time. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, as compared to me, I've always said, like, look, I'm, my wife wears the pants in the relationship. Never mind. I'm trying to make a joke, but I'm actually not trying to get. I just realized that I would be the butt of that joke.
Well,
So
listen,
I'm
Jeff,
not going to
why
make that
don't you
joke.
come to South, since there's no adequate leader for South Africa at this point, why don't you just come to South Africa and assume that leadership position? I mean, I think you'll
You know
fit right
why?
in.
You know why? Because I can't grow a beard like that.
You missed my joke though, but anyway.
My beard just like grows out. It doesn't grow like long. It looks terrible.
No man, no self-respecting man will ever follow a beardless man in South Africa, you know?
Look,
That's like,
I have a glorified 5 o'clock shadow beard. Okay,
that's not enough. I mean,
I
like,
know.
what's that? Teenagers have that? I don't know.
If I grow mine out, it's like a face afro.
Ooh.
I'm not happy about it, but I'm just saying I've not had any success in like making my beard grow long. How did we get here? I'm making fun of you, not me. Let's move on.
Sector, and between those two, the old ANC is just there, busy spending money on themselves, being corrupt. But you can only buy so many cars. I suppose there are certain sheiks in the Middle East with.
Okay, dude. I don't even know if we need to go on. I think he's done. I think we're good. Like he's now just. I mean, I can't imagine. I couldn't create in my mind a character more boring and retarded as the one that is being displayed right now on this video at this point. Like he's gotten all of his fucking shilling done. He's gotten all of his lying done. Now he's kind of like relying on his own talent to be entertaining, and he's fucking failing. He is being boring and gay.
Dude, this guy, as in his entire life career, only like amounted like 8,000 followers in South Africa. Yeah. So, I mean, that should tell you everything that you need to know. Do you have Facebook, Jeff?
No, I do not. I haven't since 2017. Since
So you can't
yeah.
you can't open a Facebook link because I want to share you something. I wish that
No,
you could see if
I
you can
can't
open
do it.
this.
You can do it, and I can share your screen. But if I open Facebook, it just tells me like log in, or I can't look at anything.
Okay, cool. Share.
Oh, so, Meadow Fine said, "Isn't Jared Taylor the unofficial leader of the CivNats/AFers?" No, he is not. I don't know where you got that from, but that is not only is that exaggerated. It's not like that's just exaggerated or something. That's not based in reality at all. No, not even a little bit.
Okay, but click here, dude. Share the screen.
Jared Taylor is a national treasure. Okay. Wait. Okay, I see what you're doing. Okay. What is this?
This is just a picture that he's got. Look there. I mean, it's some woman with tits and a gun, and some guy lying naked. This is Dan Ruet.
This is on his Facebook.
Yes.
This is okay. He's Jewish. He's got to be. He's got to be Jewish. After the thing, the thing that you read that he wrote in college the other day, and then him displaying some propaganda of a shirtless, tits out woman leading a military charge against somebody. That's Jewish bullshit right there. Only a Jew would do that.
This is Dan Ruet when he was young, when he was a young man.
Zoom in on that, would you? Can you zoom in on your end?
Why is it doing
Just so
that?
we can. Yeah, hit the plus sign right there.
Yeah, I am.
Oh,
it's making something weird. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
No, I don't know why it doesn't want to do that.
That's okay. I can zoom in on my end. I'm looking. Yeah, he looks way more Jewish here.
Yeah.
Look at that nose, bro.
Oh, this is Joost. He's from the from the Oranje movement. Man, this guy's just a liberal pretending to be a right winger. That's all I can say about him.
Yeah, he definitely
Let's
is,
check
bro.
a bit of his check a few of his photos, and you can tell me what you think about this guy. Look at this dude.
Oy vey.
Goy vey. Yeah, no, this guy's gay, man. He's never do you see a photo of him with his what do you call
I've never
with
seen
his
a man
wife.
wear a scarf until I just saw him wearing a scarf.
This is Karel Boshoff, right? Now tell me what you think about this guy. You know.
He looks exactly like, oh my God. He looks like every Jewish director in Hollywood I've ever seen. That is Steven Spielberg made
But
over.
do you know? Yeah, do you know who he is?
No.
He's the son of the founder of Oranje.
You're kidding me.
No, I'm not.
Wow,
Promise
dude. Wow. I shouldn't be surprised.
Oh, Oranje is so fucking based, dude. I can't believe it. I just want to move to Oranje. But yet every right winger that I know, that has ever moved to Oranje has moved away there in a hurry. It's just funny. I don't know. Also, Oranje is a gated community itself. Poor people can't go there. You have to be very wealthy to be able to afford any property in Oranje.
Oh, excuse me. Harewood Silvatici sent $5 and he said, "This article needs reading out, Dingo, so people understand why South Africa is now failing, if not too spicy for YouTube. Hope you're both well." Well, thank you, my friend. I'll take a look at it. I feel like we've done so much commentary on content this episode that if we did that right this second, like either we wouldn't do it justice or people wouldn't really pay attention to it because it would just be like an overload. I'll check this out, dude, and we'll probably go over it next episode. How about that? Let me put this in my Telegram save messages so I don't forget it. I'll send it to Jack right now also. Oh shit, Jack, remind me, I need to send you a message. Somebody emailed me and wanted me to get you a message, and I need to copy paste that to you like today. Like right now, actually. Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna do that right now. You think you can talk while I look for that?
Ja, nee, Wolrod, dit is nie vir die vriend van my net not. She now has a house and a business all help to Oranje and they're helping hand fund. Okay, wel ek sal baie meer daarvan wil hoor. Maar
Are you speaking Afrikaans?
Yeah, I'm speaking to a guy that I wouldn't say we know each other, but he has listened to the show a couple of times and stuff like that. I remember the first time that we disagreed was over the ULA. And he said that, no, the ULA is not gay and they're actually doing a good thing, blah, blah, blah. And now he's saying that I'm lying about Oranje, and I'm just saying no. I'm not lying about Oranje. Oranje has been bought by Solidariteit. Is now its biggest investors, right, in Oranje. Oranje also says that anybody is welcome in Oranje as long as he accepts the Afrikaner culture, right?
Yeah. I mean, my message to anybody saying that would be like, dude, I understand the instinct to want to defend, the people on your side. But whenever two people who you think are on your side, I know I'm talking to this guy. But whenever two people who you think are on your side, whenever there's a conflict between the two or something like that, or one of the people you think is on your side says something derogatory or whatever about the other one, you don't have to take a public stance immediately. Why don't you just listen and look into it and see if what the guy's saying checks out? Now, if it doesn't, if he's lying and you find that out, then tell everybody because he's probably a bad actor. But it is worth checking like by yourself if what the guy's saying is true or not before you just go, "You're a liar," in front of everybody. I mean, because Jack is not a liar. He's never been accused of being a liar, and nobody's ever brought a lie he's ever told on air to the forefront because there isn't one. There aren't any. Same with me. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but like nobody's ever caught me in a fucking lie. And my whole internet broadcasting career. Not a one. Because I don't fucking lie. And neither does Jack. And that's why we get along. So I would just say, like, before you go throwing around words like liar at good people, just quietly on your own, check and see if what he's saying checks out. I don't know. I'm not chastising you, big guy. I'm just saying, my opinion.
Let me ask you this. If somebody says, right, if a movement in America started up, right, saying it was to defend the American culture, right, and that anybody that wishes to defend American culture is welcome there, would you support that, Jeff?
Oh, you mean like America first? No.
Exactly. Now, how is Urania different? Just because Urania now only has white people living in it doesn't mean that Urania, with the stance that they have, will have only white people living in it in 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, there's that, but I think there's more about Urania. Like I said, last episode, we're not trying to make a Urania deep dive out of this. This was about Dan Root's interview, and I did promise that we would do an Urania deep dive next time, which we can do that. You want to just go ahead and plan to do that, Jack? Next episode, we'll do an Urania deep dive.
We can, yeah. We can definitely do it on a deep dive. And why secession is a bullshit thing and why you shouldn't support secession. It's the one thing that they're going to goat white people into doing in South Africa as well as in America, because they're going to convince you that that's the smart thing to do. Because look, the only way that a Jew can ever win is by convincing you that you can. Right? And then you believe him. And you fall for it. And then you're like, oh, yeah, this Jew is right. I can't stand up against the Jew, but what I can do is I can run from the Jew. When has that ever worked?
It's a very America First-esque thought process, you know. Don't talk bad about the Jews, because that's bad optics and shit like that. Oh, shit. It looks like I might have to go here in a second. My wife's out here. Oh, hang on 1 second, dude. Let me talk to her for a sec. You talk.
So everybody there, you heard it first year. The big bad dingo, Alpha Chad, is now having to listen to his wife. But anyway, white people need to understand, because this is something that we do not understand, okay? That we cannot run away from our problems. We cannot outrun the Jew. We have to start taking a stance. If you think that you cannot defend your existence, then you are not convinced that your existence is a moral thing. You think it's amoral, right? So unless you get convinced that you will never convince anybody, right, of anything. I can't. This is why it doesn't work. If I go out and say, "Oh, I'm going to convince people that the Jews are the wrong ones," people are drawn towards our conviction. Okay, when it seems that you are sure of the path forward, then people will follow you, because a lot of people don't have things figured out, and they gravitate towards people that do have things figured out. The reality of it is, majority of people, awesome, dude. Majority of people are too lazy to figure things out. Okay, so what you need to do is figure things out and start getting living that, and then people will gravitate towards that. Not to what you say, but to what you live.
Yeah. And by the way, okay, everybody's like, oh, wear the pants. Listen, I told you guys at the start of the stream that my whole family's sick. I'm sick also, but like only my throat and ear hurt. But like my wife she tested positive for COVID. I think it's just the flu, obviously. Like I said, I think my brother-in-law gave her the flu at my birthday get together this past weekend. And my youngest son has an ear infection, and my oldest one has, I don't know what he has, but he's coughing. So they all went to the doctor yesterday, and they're all way sicker than me. Like my throat hurts, my ear hurts, but I feel fine other than that. I got no fever or nothing like that. And also, just in case anybody's like, well, I can't believe you're abandoning your family to do a podcast. Shut up. My mother-in-law's over here taking care of them while I'm doing the show. Not to mention, we did the show during nap time. And my wife just came out here because everybody just woke up. So I did the show while everybody was asleep. And even if they woke up, my mother-in-law's here to help. Okay. So I'm not abandoning anybody.
Explaining, okay.
Okay. No, that's just the truth. That's just how that goes. Okay. But anyways.
Okay.
So, yeah. I thought about that like after about 10 minutes after I said they were sick. I'm like, I've got to somehow force into this conversation the fact that my mother-in-law's here, because it's going to look really shitty if I'm like abandoning my sick family to do a fucking show. But like, I'm not. I swear I would never do that.
He's very committed to the race and to the struggle.
Well, yeah, because see, my children are the first generation of in my family.
White Italian?
Oh, yeah. Well, exactly. They're the first generation in my Dago family line that are white passing stuff.
You shouldn't be friends with me, Jeff.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, Jack has actually like gaslit me to the point where I do feel like a non-white now. I used to think I was white. Jack has made me learn otherwise now.
Hey,
but
dude,
I'm an ally.
The only reason I did that, the only reason why I did that is so I could also say one day if I get caught out for white nationalism, that I can't be a white nationalist. My best friend is a black,
Wow, dude.
I'm sorry.
You know what, guy in chat from 10 minutes ago? You're right. Jack is a lying piece of shit. Go you. Go you. You go, guy. I'm just kidding. All right, but she did come out here and tell me that the boys just woke up and all that, so I need to go in there and get their afternoon dose of their medicines ready, I guess. So yeah, let's go ahead and shut this thing down real quick. Let me just pull up our outro. Yeah, we have to shut it down, okay? I have to give my family their medications away,
Oh, man.
Well, this has been a fun episode, dude. I'm glad we got to do part 2. We actually did our first part 2, bro.
This is a momentous day, It's actually, I think this is the first time that we ever did a part 2. Is it not? Yeah.
It's the first part 2 we've ever done, yeah. We did a lot of part 1s.
Holy shit. Dude, there's a lot of things here to extrapolate. So we did our first part 2. Our hiatus wasn't we didn't do a podcast only a month after the next one. So yeah, big things are coming.
Big things happening. Big things happening. Thank you, COVID. This wouldn't have been possible without you, COVID. Like, everybody's bitching about coronavirus, but I just got a paid week off of work, dude, because my wife's sick with it.
Think of all the donations you're gonna get from streaming all this week, dude. It's awesome.
Dude, we raked it in this time, dude.
Salary.
We raked it in today. You know how much we got total?
$1,488.
No, dude. We got 10,000 cents. Wait, I think I might have done that wrong. How many cents is $10?
Probably
we got 1,000 cents.
1,000 cents, okay.
We got 1,000 cents. What's that in rands?
Oh gosh, golly, I could never invite these morons to a pro-white conversation.
I showed Jared Taylor's hand once at the American Renaissance.
At least Dan Root would have known how to do the calculations on that. Being the white man that he is.
Never mind. I was going to say something ugly and rude about Dan Root, but I'm not going to do it. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. This has, of course, been part 2 of episode number 169 of the Southern AF podcast, entitled How Are White South Africans Doing? Really? Where we expose Dan Root as a Jewish puppet, liar, piece of shit, who's trying to make everybody think that everything's just fine for whites in South Africa. Pay no attention. Move on. Everything's great here. When really, South African whites are the people we should be paying the most attention to. Second to, of course, to our own family and nations or whatever. But yeah, Dan Root is a liar. He has gone on a true saints program and lied to this saint's face. This saint, of course, is Jared Taylor. We love you, Uncle Jay. And having said that, Jack, why don't you do us me a favor and take us the fuck out?
Guys, it's been a pleasure doing this part 2, as Dingo so rightfully said, of this exposing the Jew, which is Dan Root. Stay safe, everybody. Stay proud. And remember, the only way that we win is by advocating explicitly for the future that we wish to live in. If you beg for your future, you will live the existence of a slave. If you stand boldly for the future and fight, then you will have a future of a free man. Cheers, everybody.